One Piece: The Legend of Creation, Chapter 381-400. 381 The Battle of the 11th Division Captains. So, Kenpachi and the captain of the 11th rank, Gui Yancheng, Kenpachi must have a fight, and they can only survive each other. Yi Yi asked suspiciously. She hadn't realized it yet. The power struggle is dark and brutal, dirty. Zaraki Jonpachi, Ghost Yancheng Jonpachi, so you still don't understand? Lu Chengkong asked rhetorically. So that's it, you knew early on that they would have a battle. Then why don't you change your name? Yi Yi didn't pay attention for a while, ignoring the meaning of Kenpachi in the name of Zengi Kenpachi. There can only be one Kenpachi in the soul world. As long as you take the name of Kenpachi, you must challenge the 11th level in the soul world. Captain, otherwise, the captain of the 11th division would definitely kill the person named Kenpachi, and the person named Kenpachi who dare not fight will be a shame. Zaraki was originally the strongest. When I say the strongest, I don't mean that he is the strongest. On the contrary, although Kenpachi has twice the strength, he now has 3 times the spirit of the captain, but it is not enough compared to any captain. Look, but the battle of Zaragi Kenpachi is not about winning or losing. His strongest point is that he sees through winning and losing. He only enjoys the process of fighting. Winning or losing is not important. With such a mentality, Kenpachi will not lose. I never believed that Kenpachi would die. Let's go and see the battle between Kenpachi and the captain. I also want to see how the strength of the 11th division captain will be. Lu Chengkong said hello to Ba Qian Lu, who was still eating candy and playing with toys, and walked out first. HMPH, that's nice, I'll see what you will do if something goes wrong. Yi Yi snorted, but she finally followed. The Seranjay, which had been silent for a while, became lively again, even more lively than the previous battle between Lu Chengkong and Kuchiki Byakuya. Can the gods of death not be excited? It can be said that a huge dueling table is already surrounded by people. This dueling table is specially designed for the captain-level powerhouse to fight, and this one is even more special. The arena is of great significance, and there are bound roads set up by Old Man Yamamoto, so that the captain-level death god can fight without any scruples, so that Seoringe will not suffer from ash. Chengkong, you're here too. Good man. Aizen saw Lu Chengkong immediately walked over with a kind smile and greeted him. Oh, Aizen, come and see the battle of Kenpachi, after all, it's rare. Lu Chengkong didn't care about arguing with Aizen. After all, he was very clear about Aizen's strength. On the surface, it seems that the strongest in the genius class is Kenpachi, and the same is true at present, but the fastest progress is still Aizen and Urahara Kazuki, who are hiding on the side, and Hirako Mako, who has always been very stinky, and Yi Yi people. But I think Zaraki is impulsive this time. His Reiatsu is very powerful, but he can't do anything but Reiatsu. It's very dangerous to face the captain like this. Aizen looked worried, said. That monster can't die. Mako Hirako didn't know if it was intentional or not, and always sang the opposite to Aizen, but after calculating the time, all the members of the genius class where Lu Chengkong was located would soon have to enter the 13th division. Look, it won't take a few years for Hirako Mako and the others to become captains and vice-captains under the power struggle behind the scenes, but the premise is that they have this strength. It has only been a few months since everyone's strength has doubled. Shikai has completely learned it, and can even play it perfectly. The weakest Reiatsu, Kunin Haku, and Yazumaru Liza also have 7 seats. I have to say that they are geniuses. It's just that there are not many. The most terrible thing about geniuses is not how amazing they are born, but the speed of their learning and progress. Even if it takes 100 or even hundreds of years for other gods of death, they may not have achieved as much as Aizen's achievements in a few months, and the speed of progress is large. I said, Kazuki, why don't you pay attention to your appearance all the time? Wow, it smells so bad, you haven't showered for a few days. Hirako Mako ignored pinching her nose and said to Urahara Kazuki, who was approaching Shanshan. Sorry, I don't remember either. I've been working on a gadget recently and forgot to take a shower. Although Urahara Kazuki was perfunctory, he could tell from his expression that it was not sincere at all. The Battle of Sword 8 officially starts today, and all those who interfere in the battle will be executed. The majestic voice of Old Man Yamamoto sounded in everyone's ears. After all, this is the title of the strongest god of death. Even Old Man Yamamoto must be serious. To do. Soon the familiar figure of Zengi Kenpachi entered the duel arena directly, but the one on the other side was dark-skinned like an African black man, with a beard and a body that looked very fat and ferocious. The most important thing was the expression on his face. The smile is full of triumph and pride. Obviously, after becoming Kenpachi, he thought he was the strongest, and he was arrogant and arrogant. He was even complacent. It is very dangerous to have such a person in battle. No wonder he died when his strength was weaker than him. There are a lot of Kenpachi in the hands, let alone the one that is affected by the butterfly effect now. You must know that the hint and express by Lu Chengkong are not comparable to the original Zengi Kenpachi. Although the original Zaraki Kenpachi is also unfathomable in strength, his strength seems to increase greatly every time he meets, and every time he encounters an opponent stronger than him, his strength will soar again, which is terrible enough, but now the development of this Kenpachi, the potential is more terrifying and more changeable, and it is not a simple rough hacking attack. It's you who dares to compete with me for Kenpachi. It's really a long life. Give you a chance. Don't say I bullied you. As long as you change the name of Jonpachi, I will let go of the past and forgive you. Gui Yancheng Kenpachi laughed arrogantly. You understand now why I said Jonba will definitely win the second, right? Lu Chengkong turned his head and said to Saifeng Yuan Yi beside him. His strength is much stronger than Jonba, not to mention Benkai after that. But he is too arrogant, not only underestimates the enemy, but also completely ignores the opponent. Arrogant and complacent, it is indeed possible that he will be punished as Yusei Zaraki Kenpachi killed. Saifeng Yuan Yi frowned his beautiful eyebrows. After thinking about it for a while, he became a little unsure whether Zengmu Jonpachi would lose. After all, Guiyancheng Jonpachi is too arrogant and arrogant. This is a fatal injury. No wonder the people behind the scenes are pushing this fight. He's out of control and is indeed going to be replaced. 382 First meeting with Benkai. Haha, your position is about to be decided, but these are not important now. The most important thing is that let's fight first. Zanaki Jonba said fiercely, and at the same time, he rushed towards Guiyan with a little rampage under his feet. Cheng Jianba is like a bull, unstoppable. Stupid, the gap between Zitong Death God and the captain is not something that people like you can understand. Before I die, I will let you experience the strength of the captain, let alone me, the strongest with the title of Jonba. Gui Yancheng Jonpachi snorted coldly, but he didn't expect that Zengmu Jonpachi was not afraid of himself at all, and even dared to take the lead without a bird, and his anger would suddenly rise. Listen to anyone who disobeys him, or does not obey him. The serrated long sword of Qingjungmu Kenpachi directly collided with the Zanpakudo of Guiyancheng Kenpachi. It may be that everyone in the 11th division likes to attack without cost. Although Guiyancheng Jonpachi is very arrogant and arrogant, it has to be said that his strength is indeed very strong. Not long after the beginning, Guiyancheng Kenpachi was colliding with Zengmu Jonpachi for a while, and then he attacked him, and the latter started to suppress Zengmu Jonpachi. Zengmu Jonpachi is like a beast, and he is one. Hunters, no matter how powerful the beasts are, they can't escape the traps and blockades of hunters. Great, your strength is really strong. It suits my taste very much. You can let go of all the fighting. Zakagi Kenpachi started to go crazy, completely ignoring Gui Yancheng Kenpachi's Zanpakudo. He rushed over directly, reaching out to grab the opponent's Zanpakudo, and at the same time the Zanpakudo in his hand stabbed directly. Madman. Although Gui Yancheng Kenpachi has always been in the upper hand, he was not injured. On the contrary, Kenpachi Zakagi was covered with knife wounds, but he found that the other party didn't care at all, even as if the knife wounds were not cut on himself. Instead, he showed an expression of enjoyment. For a while, he was accustomed to being at the top, but his momentum was actually suppressed by the person who was weaker than him, Zaraki Kenpachi. Wow, Hachi is actually holding down his beard. Yachin Liuyi said, dancing, not watching the game as if he was watching a circus, and let Hachiko Mako, Liuch Quanchi, on the side. Waiting for people with black lines all over their heads. Damn, I am the real strongest rapist with the title of Sword 8, and I was suppressed by a kid who was still a student and stinks in front of so many people's paintings. Damn, I want you to die and smash him. The hammer of the sky. Soaked Zengi Kenpachi has not retreated, his strength does not seem to have weakened, but has even gotten stronger. Enemy, under the pressure of danger, the bottleneck that has always been loosened a little, and the Reiatsu is slowly rising at a rate that ordinary people cannot detect. But until now, Heian City Kenpachi has not done his best, and now Shikai starts. The slashing sword in his hand has disappeared, and it has become two sledgehammers in his hands. It is full of power, and if it is smashed, it will not die. Imitation. Go to hell, no one is stronger than me in terms of strength. Gui Yancheng Janpachi roared, holding such a huge weight of the hammer. His speed did not drop but increased. Shunbu immediately used it, and in an instant in between, he came to Kenpachi, jumped up and condescendingly swung two hammers to hit Zanmu Janpachi with the power of destroying the dead. Ah, some of the less courageous goddesses of death couldn't help screaming, and closed their eyes involuntarily. 4 or 2, 8,000 jins. As the party concerned, Zengmu Janpachi felt a huge oppression. Although the thunder hammer, which was about to smash himself into a mass of flesh, was going straight, it was like Lu Chengkong's chilling glance at the beginning. In the same way, he blocked all his right paths, and even if he didn't block it, he wouldn't dodge due to Kenpachi's character. It's just that this time, Zanpakutaki was beyond everyone's expectations. Even the god of death, who many people thought he could only go straight, looked at him with admiration, only to see the Zanpakudo in Zanpakutaki's hand waving as if he hadn't eaten. The same, but when the Zanpakudo touched the two hammers on the head, it seemed to be dipped in super glue, and the two hammers were stuck together. At the same time, the Zanpakudo moved to the left, and the body twisted in a strange way. The terrifying power of Huko at this time was resolved. How is that possible? Gui Yancheng Janba's eyes narrowed and he exclaimed, but at this time there was no time for him to think about it, because Zengmu Janba used 4 or 2 techniques to defuse this attack, so that he didn't reach the goal. Uncontrollable, he felt that the ghost-beating Yancheng Kenpachi stretched forward uncontrollably, and at the same time, Zanpakudo of Zengi Kenpachi directly penetrated the chest of ghost Yancheng Kenpachi like a snake coming out of a stream. Ah! Gui Yancheng Janba suddenly screamed. Can regard pain as enjoyment. After all, only Zanaki Kenpachi is the only one. Even the ghost Yancheng Kenpachi who is also called Kenpachi in front of him can't do it. Humans are replaceable. Puchi. Zaraki Kenpachi wouldn't give Gui Yancheng Kenpachi time to groan in pain, so he directly pulled out the Zanpakudo, and he had to make up for a knife to completely eliminate Gui Yancheng Kenpachi. Under the fear of death, Gui Yancheng Kenpachi there was no more contempt, and it broke out immediately. Bankai Rampage Hammer. With a bang, Gui Yancheng Kenpachi's spiritual pressure increased by more than 5 times in an instant, and the spiritual pressure directly surpassed Zaraki Kenpachi as if in essence. His hands that were a little sluggish because of the injury immediately seemed to have some kind of blessing, speed and strength. There was a qualitative change in the reaction. The 2 hammers in the hands actually merged into a giant hammer. Not only that, the surface of the hammer was covered with countless sharp spikes. It makes the scalp go numb just looking at it. Furious, Gui Yancheng Kenpachi doesn't care about anything now, and there is only one thought in his heart, that is, he will do whatever it takes to kill the Zakagi Kenpachi who has injured him, and at the same time, he must restore his dignity and prove that he is the best. Strong. The front end of the thunder hammer in his hand burst out like a machine gun, revealing a chain connected to the hammerhead. At an astonishing speed, it directly slammed into the Zanpakudo who could only barely hold up the Zanpakudo to block. The power of the man directly sent the person and the knife flying out and slammed into the enchantment of the binding road. Push. A bloody arrow spit out from the mouth of Zengi Kenpachi. Ordinary people are sure to die if they are seriously injured like this, but Zengi Kenpachi seemed to be fine, so he stood up and continued to pick up the Zanpakudo and rushed towards the ghost Yancheng Kenpachi. That energetic look makes people envious. 383 The roar of Old Man Yamamoto. Cut. I didn't expect that I would still use Chenkong's unique trick. Zengmu Janpachi said unhappily while pointing at the side. That's right, Lu Chenkong gave him the 4 or 2,000 jins just now, and he was hit by the violent hammer just now. At that time, he also used the unloading force of 4 or 2,000 pounds, otherwise the injury would be more serious now. Brush. Zengeki Kenpachi, who had always been on a rampage, actually disappeared in place with a swipe, and came directly behind Guiyancheng Kenpachi, and passed by with one sword. Shunbu, when did he learn it? Kuchiki Shanghai said in surprise, knowing that he learned Shunpo was also taught to him by Kuchiki Yinling secretly, and he was a senior Shunpo, and he also secretly agreed to join Kuchiki Yinling's marriage. The Kuchiki family, of course, requires him to complete Bankai. As for the advanced Shunpo, he is just a lack of capital in the early stage. More importantly, Kuchiki Yinling believes in his own vision. Kuchiki Shanghai's aptitude and the strength of Zanpakudo are very powerful. Love Chu. Don't underestimate Zakagi Kenpachi, it's not as simple as his ability to enter the genius class. Captain Yamamoto wouldn't let a god of death join the genius class just because of this. Hiroko Meiko said with a serious expression. Obviously he felt a threat from Kenpachi Zaraki. The skill of Shunpo is not easy to say, difficult to say, but not difficult. If you know the trick, you can quickly master the basic Shunpo. The last time I used Shunpo in the dining hall at night, I thought Kenpachi had already guessed it. When it comes to Shunpo's principle, it's normal to figure it out. Zibo Kong thought for a while, and then said. You really shouldn't underestimate any of your opponents. Qiancheng Kenpachi is obviously so much stronger than Zaragi Kenpachi, just because he underestimated the enemy and was seriously injured. I don't know if he can survive in the end. Aizen feels that he has learned a lot of things today, and his mind has become more determined. He also has the character that Aizen will not underestimate any opponent in the future, even if the enemy he faces is weak, he will go all out. Is Shunpo. It's a pity that your Shunpo is too rough and too slow. After entering the state, Guiyancheng Kenpachi exerted his strength to 100%, and he actually mentioned Zaraki Kenpachi. The trajectory of the movement, and without looking back, a violent pounding hammer was thrown backwards. Double rage. After the sound of the clang, Guiyancheng Kenpachi knew that he had hit the opponent's Zanpakudo, and he didn't want to waste any more time. It is dangerous to drag him down. Boom. Two banging sounds suddenly sounded, and the violent pounding hammer actually fired twice like a bullet in a row, instantly hitting Zengeki Kenpachi twice, but this time Zengi Kenpachi was not hit and flew out, instead, he took a breath. Regardless of his body, his feet are rooted to the ground like the roots of an old tree. Don't even think about hitting Mr. Fei Ben, let's look for it, it's a shocking slash. Zaragi Kenpachi roared, and there was a cracking sound on his body, as if something shattered. At the same time, his faint yellow spiritual pressure actually disappeared. In an instant, it became more solid, and the emotion was clear and easy to see, and the light yellow became yellow. The Reiki, which was twice as close to 3 times as Captain Reaper, broke through the shackles in an instant, reaching 4 times that of Captain Reaper. Under the rage, Zanpakudo raised his Zanpakudo high, and all the Reiki in his body concentrating on the Zanpakudo to continuously strengthen the Zanpakudo. At the same time, the spiritual pressure was continuously compressed and condensed, and it slashed forward fiercely in an instant. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the violent spiritual pressure erupted directly with the slash of Zengi Kenpachi. The ground began to tremble. The smoke and dust filled the audience directly. The Reiatsu released by the strike seemed to have become a huge Reiatsu blade, pierced through the air, and smashed the violent pounding sky in front of him into 2 parts. At the same time, the unabated power that was born directly penetrated the ghost Yancheng's sword that was too late to dodge. 8. Came directly to a skewer. Can the dead now die again? This is the end of underestimating the enemy. Always underestimate the opponent, let alone Ling Mu Janba, he is not as simple as going straight. Lu Chengkong's words resounded in Yi Yi's ears again. This battle benefited Yi Yi a lot, and it was very shocking. He didn't expect that the captain-level death god could actually defeat him, and he was still beheaded by a death god who didn't graduate. He Yancheng Kenpachi is so pitiful, he can't rest his eyes. Urahara Kazuki giggled, but when the hat was lowered, a flash of light flashed from his eyes, and no one noticed. Zaraki Kenpachi won the battle for Kenpachi. From today onwards, he is the new Kenpachi. The title of the strongest god of death belongs to him. At the same time, he also serves as the captain of the new 11th Division. The old man Yamamoto stood up. The road-binding barrier was resolved, and the road was announced loudly. Could it be that one of the people behind the battle of the two Kenpachi is Captain Yamamoto? The young Yaiki felt that his head was not enough today. How could old man Yamamoto, who has always been just and dignified, do such a thing? But the fact is better than words. Yi Yi's reason told her it was the truth. However, if Zaraki Kenpachi is an outsider, how could a dangerous person in the 80 district become the captain of the Shinigami in one fell swoop after entering the Seirei Garden? Without the consent of the old man Yamamoto, unless his strength is stronger than the old man Yamamoto, there is no way. Be the captain. Refreshing, after a few months of holding back, I finally have a satisfying battle. Kenpachi Zakagi, who was covered in blood and seemed to lose too much blood at any time, still said these words in such a mood that countless people had to admire him. Head beast. If you don't go to the 4th Division for treatment, don't say you will be the captain of the 11th Division. It may be a problem whether you will have a chance to fight in the future. Lu Chengkong's words suddenly sounded, and Zengmu Janpachi was about to turn his head. There was a sudden pain in his neck, and he passed out. This is the metamorphosis of the metamorphosis. At this moment, almost all the gods of death present had the same voice in their hearts. They dared to do this, and Lu Chengkong was the only one who could do such a thing easily. Captain Yamamoto, I'll send this one first. No, it's the new 11th first team captain to the 4th team. Lu Chengkong felt that he still had to give face to old man Yamamoto, and old man Yamamoto was arrogant towards Lu Chengkong. He felt very satisfied and surprised that the guy would call him so politely, but Lu Chengkong had already slipped away with Kenpachi before he could not think about it. Has this kid changed? When did he become so polite? The old man Yamamoto thought strangely while looking at Lu Chengkong's back, but soon he understood why Lu Chengkong was so polite. Captain Yamamoto, the news came from the True Central Spiritual Art Institute just now that all the meals for this month are gone. What's going on? It's Lu Chengkong, Zengmu Janpachi, Kaolu Yachinliu with Hiroko Meiko, Ju Nanbai, Liuch Quanchi. They held a party and ate all the food they had reserved, and it is guaranteed that the captain of Yamamoto has allowed this matter, and the money has not been paid yet. The person in charge of the canteen asked his subordinates to ask the captain when the money for the food was paid. Quote. Lu Chengkong, wait for this old man. A roar resounded throughout the jingling courtyard, scaring many death gods to their feet. 384 Bachinliu's mother. After Zengi Kenpachi became the captain, Lu Chengkong and the others would visit the 111th team every day. You must know that the place to live for the captain is very good, and there are many houses, each of which is very large. The decoration was very gorgeous, so Lu Chengkong and others graduated early one by one and left the True Central Spiritual Arts Academy to join their favorite teams. Of course, there are also 2 people who have not joined any squads until now. These 2 people are Lu Chengkong and Bachinliu. In Lu Chengkong's words, he is too busy to take care of the child Bachinliu. In other words, I am too young to do such a dangerous job as the god of death, and I have to be taken care of by Shao Kong. In the face of these 2 excellent reasons, old man Yamamoto really can't find any place to refute. After all, taking care of children is only natural, shouldn't people take care of children? And Bachin Liu's words are even worse. He has to be taken care of by others, and he has no time, so the old man Yamamoto, who has wanted to wear Lu Chengkong's shoes many times, can't find the slightest chance. Although Lu Chengkong and Bachin Liu didn't join any squads, they didn't even have any officers, but in the 11th class, the two of them were high-ranking existences and nobody wanted to be changed by Bachin Liu. No one wants their monthly salary to be detained. Many times, some of the gods of death that she disliked were all deducted from their salary, and the money was confiscated by her reputation. This little witch is the most terrifying existence of the 11th rank team. In one sentence, she would rather provoke Janba than Mo Rasaulu. Xiaokong, I'm back. Kaolu Bachin Liu suddenly appeared in front of Lu Chengkong. Her petite and cute figure looked very charming, and people liked it from the bottom of their hearts. Those two small dimples, the blush made her look even more pitiful. Come back, where did you go today? Lu Chengkong withdrew the snowdrink infusion knife in his hand and withdrew from the spiritual world. Obviously, he was communicating with Sophie the knife spirit just now. It is worth mentioning that since Lu Chengkong completed Shikai after that, his spiritual world was no longer a fire, but a paradise composed of various environments. It consists of 4 kinds of environments. One is ice and snow, one is alpine fire and plum, one is forest with green mountains and green water, and the other is a million gardens. The combination of the 4 is a beautiful paradise. Sophie is more satisfied, at least more than there were too many fire plums before, and I lived in every place to pass the time. I recognized a mother today. Bachin Liu has a mother. The first sentence of Bachin Liu made all the tea Lu Chengkong just drank spurt out, right? I recognized a mother. Don't look at it. Bachin Liu looks like she is 2 or 3 years old now, but she is definitely a weird elf, and there are endless ways to treat people, and only she can survive, and can be Bachin Liu's mother. Is she more elf than she is? But Lu Chengkong didn't know who was weirder than the elf Bachin Liu in the original book. Bachin Liu, who is the mother you're talking about? Do you know her name? Lu Chengkong asked worriedly. Her, she beat Hachi to the ground and didn't dare to move, and made Shaola Kiraku Chunsui, and Xiaoju Yukataki Shuru very scared. The captain of the 4th division, Uno Hanaritsu, now I am Yakiryu's mom. Bachin Liu said with a smug look, as if he was talking about his majestic deeds. It turned out to be her. No wonder she was able to subdue the 8,000 Ryu. I should have thought of it long ago. Whether it is the original book or my own experience now, I feel the most unfathomable, the unpredictable is not the old man Yamamoto, nor the blue dye, it's not even some bullshit of the 4 great nobles. But this tenure is second only to Captain Yamamoto. Specialty is medical healing ability. It is her nature to save all things, and her purpose is to be unwilling to kill. She has the kindness of a mother and the love of all things. Although it is a bit cold, but its medical ability is very powerful, the mysterious and unpredictable Ujawali who can rescue people who are dying to the brink of death. Lu Chengkong doesn't have to worry if he wants to understand. Although he has seen Maojawali's shot, not even she herself, he knows that Maojawali will never harm Bachin Liu. This is an intuition, but he believed in this intuition very much, and saved his intuition from the brink of death many times. Moreover, Ujawali had no reason to hurt Bachianryu at all. To kill Bachianryu, she could do it with just a wave of her hand, and she didn't need to do such extra things at all, let alone being Bachianryu's mother. It seems that because of her own reasons, the already well-behaved and lovely Bachin Liu is more popular, and it may even be her background and unintentional revealing of the sad things she lived in the 79th district when she was a child. With the mystery of Maojawali, it is simply effortless to understand the 8,000 streams. Then you have to be obedient and don't cause trouble, otherwise it will be bad if your mother doesn't like it, but if she treats you badly, come back and tell me that I am not her opponent now, and I will teach her a lesson for you in the future. Lu Chengkong said boldly. He was the one who would cause trouble the most. Yeah, Bachin Liu didn't say anything about it. Instead, he enjoyed Lu Chengkong's concern and nodded his head as if I would be very good. Let's play. Lu Chengkong was also very happy when he saw Bachanliu, who was jumping and jumping like a pistachio. It seemed that Bachanliu had slowly forgotten the unhappy things in the past, and she also very sensible. She always had a sweet smile on her face, which made Lu Chengkong very at ease, never let Lu Chengkong worry about her, and even said that he would take care of Lu Chengkong. Hey, I've been here for so long. I'm either cultivating or going to school. I'm a little bored. Let's go out and relax. I haven't gone out anyway, so just combine work and rest. Lu Chengkong murmured to himself, while carrying the snow drink on his back. Crazy Blade disappeared in a blink of an eye. Liuhun Street, a rather dilapidated, old-fashioned street, seems to have gone through the years. There are 5 or 6 people on the street who look like 16, but he can see at a glance that there are 2 men who look the same. She is not young, and looks like a 14 or 15-year-old girl. Squint your eyes, you'd better take out the protection fee, otherwise you won't want to go out alive today, and the blonde sister behind you will make your buddy cool. The person in the lead showed a wide smile and looked at the beautiful wavy blonde girl with sinister eyes. 385 Shopping and Encountering Chaos Chrysanthemum. HMPH. Squinting is really squinting. A pair of eyes squinted to match the upward curvature of Vivi's lips, giving people a poison that is as gentle and cruel as poppies. Not an idiot can see that. Why, I want to resist, haha, since that's the case today, I will kill you first. Not only was the gangster in the lead not afraid, but he laughed out loud, and even stretched out his hand to hit Squint, just at Ichimaru-jin. When the first strike is stronger, the rogue leader's chest is directly penetrated by a white thunder, and so is the sidekick who is following the rogue leader. Ichimaru-jin not only was not happy after being rescued, but a calmer husband yelled. It's really boring. You will encounter such things when you go shopping. It seems that the defense of the god of death is really not bad. A man in a black shirt and white slacks walked out of nowhere. Needless to say, this person everyone knew that it was Lu Chengkong. He originally planned to go shopping and find something to relieve his boredom, but what made him depressed was that he could not find anything to relieve his boredom, and those snacks were not suitable for him. Just when he was about to go back, he encountered these things in front of him, and these two. The squinting beautiful boy is actually the future captain of the 3rd Division, Ichimaru-jin, and the other with wavy blonde hair is of course the blonde girl Matsumoto Ranju, the blonde girl with the highest height of death. It seems that the rogues mentioned in the original book were all envoys of Aizen. Haha, I accidentally destroyed Aizen's plan. It's strange that Aizen seems to be taking away the soul of the chrysanthemum. No, it should be spiritual power. Without the soul, there is still a fart. And even if I don't come, these gangsters can't be the opponent of Ichimaru-jin, who is not afraid of death. Even if Ichimaru-jin is not the god of death, it is easy to take care of these guys with such a huge spiritual power. Lu Chengkong glanced at Ichimaru-jin and Matsumoto Ranju in front of him. At this time, Matsumoto Ranju was still very young, not as old as he was. He had a hot body, big breasts, fat buttocks, sexy, hot, mature and plump, but it didn't seem small now. 14 or 15 years old seems to be a little older than the average 20-year-old woman, and if she develops at this rate, she will sooner or later become the #1 Maiba. Appearance is beautiful, and the facial features are exquisitely combined just right. Golden curly hair, tall figure, gray-blue eyes, and charming black moles on the lower collar. You haven't answered my question yet, Ichimaru-jin said, seeing this man bowing his head and pondering and ignoring him very upset. Hee, boy, I think you should calm down. Be careful of being tricked. The spiritual power of the two of you is coveted. It is very dangerous to have such spiritual power without enough strength. I advise you to still become a god of death and master the power to protect yourself, otherwise I can guarantee that there will be a second time for this kind of thing. But if this is the case, Lu Chengkong will not be shocked. What surprised him most is that he found that the spiritual pressure of the chrysanthemum behind Ichimaru-jin is only higher or not lower than Ichimaru-jin. What does this mean? Ranju's talent is even higher than the powerful and ruthless Ichimaru Jin in the future. This is impossible. If there is such a qualification, according to the growth height of Ichimaru Jin's original work, Ranju will only be stronger or weaker than Ichimaru Jin. How can it only become a vice captain? Wait, Ichimaru Jin wants to get back from Aizen what Ranju has taken away. Isn't that spiritual power? Oh my god, I didn't expect that the Ranju in the world of death is actually Hihitani, Ichimaru Jin, Kuchiki Byakuya and others. A person who wants to be a genius and evil spirit, even Lan Ran can't help but want to take her spiritual pressure, and she can become the deputy captain of the death god after being taken away. If she is not taken, what height will she reach? Between the lights and Flint, Lu Chengkong had already guessed the whole thing clearly. Aizen took away the spiritual power of the chrysanthemum and restricted the growth of the chrysanthemum. Ichimaru Yin later found out the whole thing and wanted to take back the spiritual power. Hehe, if you interfere, don't let Ranju's spiritual power be taken away by Aizen. With Ranju's aptitude higher than Ichimaru Jin and Hitsugaya, I don't know how far it will grow in the future. Maybe Aizen will be shocked. Well, I will be this butterfly and change your destiny. I hope you don't let me disappointed. Let me see how you will grow without being deprived of your spiritual power. What do you mean? Although Ichimaru Jin didn't understand, he instinctively felt that there was something coveted in himself and Ranju. Don't you understand? Well, I'm in a good mood today. Let me explain to you. If you want to become a god of death, you must have a strong spiritual power, and the soul with stronger spiritual power before becoming a god of death will have no surprises in her future achievements. The higher, and you're clearly a super genius. If you become a god of death, the worst thing you can do when you grow up completely is the existence of the captain of the god of death. As for the blonde beauty behind you, it is even more incredible, and the spiritual power is so shocking. If you let some people know about it, you will definitely take away this spiritual power at all costs, and both of you are powerless, and you are innocent and guilty. I think you understand what I mean by now. Right. Lu Chengkong gave a brief explanation, which made Ichimaru Yin's complexion change greatly. He was not worried about his own safety, but about Luanju. Okay, let's make a decision after thinking about it. I'm just giving you a suggestion. 88 Luo. After Lu Chengkong finished speaking, he turned around very smartly. It didn't mean that he ignored the beauty of the chrysanthemum. In fact, he came to this world. For more than a year, he has been single all the time, and has nowhere to look. If he hadn't understood Bingxin, he might have just grabbed a woman and returned. However, Luanju's beautiful figure and temperament made Lu Chengkong's heart beat, but he was anxious to eat it. No hot tofu. He could see that the current Ranju and Ichimaru Jin are not a couple, at least the two keep a distance between men and women, and there is no love in their eyes at all, some are just the concern between friends, or the brother and the affection between sisters. Otherwise, Lu Chengkong would have slaughtered Ichimaru Yin long ago and snatched back the chrysanthemum. As for the popular character, he doesn't care about Ichimaru Yin's achievements in the future. Is there still a few people he killed? Need a reason? Obviously, you don't need to wear it. It makes sense to have a big fist, especially in this world of death where people cannibalize. 386 accepted an apprentice and served as a thug. Obviously, their relationship hasn't undergone a qualitative change yet. It should have undergone a big change after the spiritual power was taken away from Ranju, and the relationship between Ichimaru Jin and Ranju has undergone a qualitative change. Now, because of Lu Chengkong's arrival, I don't know what will happen. Changes, but it is certain that Ranju has absolutely no share of Ichimaru Jin. Wait, Ichimaru Yin was still young after all. At this time, he was also indifferent. He couldn't make up his mind and didn't know what to do. He could only pin his hopes on the person in front of him who saved him. What's wrong? What else is going on? Lu Chengkong actually knew that Ichimaru Yin would stop him for a long time. After all, now he was his only hope. With Ichimaru Yin's intelligence, he would certainly seize this opportunity. You should be the god of death. I want to ask you to accept me as a disciple. Since you say that my qualifications are so good, I don't think I will humiliate your identity. Ichimaru-jin is worthy of being Ichimaru-jin. Doing this will not only make him safe in a short time, but also have a death god to teach him, and also tie Lu Chengkong to his body. If he learns that Lu Chengkong is strong, he will continue to follow him. I study by my side. If I am weak, I will leave after I have a strong power. I have to say that Ichimaru-yin is still small, but he is very smart, and he plays a very good abacus. It's very smart, and the little abacus in my heart is good. Although I don't hate people with deep scheming and shrewdness, I definitely don't allow anyone to play tricks on me, especially those who want to follow me, especially the words of my apprentice. I admit that your aptitude is indeed very good. Any god of death can't help but want to accept you as a disciple, but if you are so careless when facing me, then I'm sorry I refuse. Lu Chengkong took a deep look at Ichimaru-jin, grinned, and Isho shook his head and refused. That's right, he doesn't care whether a person is shrewd or not. After all, it's innate. Some people are born with a lot of calculation in their hearts. This can't be changed, but he definitely doesn't like someone around him who has to calculate this against him. The person who calculates, who cares about gains and losses, let alone the disciple's words. After speaking, Lu Chengkong turned around and left without a trace of nostalgia. Ichimaru-yin was stunned. Obviously, he did not expect his thoughts to be seen through at a glance. Although he was flustered, he did not lose his sense. Instead, he was more determined to follow this person. Regardless of him, Ichimaru-jin's eyesight is far from simple. I was wrong. I promise that I will only show my truest side to you in the future. Ichimaru-jin really deserves to be Ichimaru-jin, and he really doesn't give up, and he is obviously not for himself, but for his own sake. For the safety of Luanju behind him, he even sacrificed his dignity and knelt down to beg himself. You want the strength to protect the blonde beauty behind you. To be honest, deep scheming is innate and has something to do with experience. This can't be changed. I appreciate your behavior in this regard. What's your name? Lu Chengkong stopped, but instead of turning around, he asked in a low voice. My name is Ichimaru-yin. Ichimaru-yin was overjoyed. He knew that he was only one step away from success, otherwise Lu Chengkong would not stop, so he couldn't wait to say his name, and was surprised that Lu Chengkong actually in a short period of time, he saw through everything in his heart, which made Ichimaru-yin extremely jealous. Matsumoto Ranju, who had not spoken, stood quietly like a passerby, spoke for the first time. Don't suppress your character. I can see that you are a rational, brave, intelligent, kind, just, mature, gentle person. Of course, this is your advantage, and the disadvantage remains to be seen. Let's go. If you don't go, there will be trouble. Lu Chengkong's eyes flashed, and his left and right hands were placed on the shoulders of Ichimaru-jin and Matsumoto Ranju respectively, and they left in a blink of an eye. Just 1 minute after Lu Chengkong and the three left, a man suddenly appeared at the place where Lu Chengkong and the three were just now. It's blue-dyed. Strange, although Ichimaru-jin was able to kill these hooligans, it was obviously not made by Ichimaru-jin. It should have been pierced through the heart by the fourth white thunderbolt. Who is it? Does anyone know my plan, or there was some Shinigami who accidentally passed by and saw that these people were not pleasing to the eye and saved it was Ichimaru-jin? Forget it. No matter what, the two of you can't get away. Ichimaru-jin. When I took away the spiritual power of Ranju, I think with your character you can only cooperate with me obediently. If you don't use it I won't kill you until it's worth it. Aizen pondered for a while, but he couldn't figure it out after all, but he was very relieved. That is, no one would know that the person behind him was him. He was very confident in his Zanpakuto ability. Anyway, he absolutely didn't believe that anyone could know his plan. It should be just the right time. Thinking of this, he put down the doubts in his heart and left. Sure enough, it's you. Aizen wants Yusuke. The corner of Lu Chengkong's mouth, who had already left on the other side, twitched. Although Aizen hid his spiritual pressure, he was very confident in sensing spiritual pressure. Even if someone in the range deliberately conceals his spiritual pressure, as long as he has seen the owner of this spiritual pressure, he can detect it. Maybe I can only be quiet for a while, and soon the soul society will be lively. It seems that I will soon become Bankai. Lu Chengkong took Ichimaru Jin and Matsumoto Ranju without any intention of hiding. Daijin went straight into the spiritual court and walked towards the 11th division. Sure enough, as I thought, this man's identity is not simple, and the clothes he wears are not death tyrants, but the death god who passes by actually doesn't care about it, but looks at him in awe. Ichimaru Jin about his decision feeling very wise. Matsumoto Ranju behind him looked at Lu Chengkong with strange eyes. Okay, I will arrange for you to enter the Central Spiritual Arts Academy to study the knowledge of the god of death. At that time, you don't need to hide your strength. To gain self-esteem, your dignity must have equal strength. Ranku, just follow me temporarily. When Ichimaru Jin, you can become Shikai. Let Matsumoto Ranju go to the Central Spiritual Arts Academy to study. Lu Chengkong arranged it directly, with an unquestionable tone in his tone. 387 The potential of Matsumoto Ranku. Why? Ichimaru Yin suddenly became vigilant in his heart. He thought that Lu Chengkong wanted to control Luanju so that he could easily control himself. Don't be smart, you are not worth the effort I spent to control you. I said that I like straightforward people, and I won't go around so many detours with you. If you want Matsumoto Ranju, if someone took away your spiritual power during your studies, then you should let her follow you. Lu Chengkong glanced at Ichimaru Jin disdainfully, as if he was saying that he was beyond his own power. Do you know the people of Queen Mu? Ichimaru Jin is really smart enough to know so much with just a little hint. I just discovered it. Although Reiatsu is well hidden, I still found it. You will soon know who I am. I hope you will remember what you said before and show me your truest side. I disdain playing tricks, but that doesn't mean I don't know these tricks. Today, I can achieve you because I appreciate your character, and I don't expect you to have any feelings for me, or how to repay me, as long as you can be my burden. After Lu Chengkong finished speaking, he directly greeted a god of death and asked him to take Ichimaru Jin away, and Ichimaru Jin was also the first time to show a complicated expression. He found that his head was not enough. Too many things happened today that he could not predict. And the person in front of him is too mysterious, as if his whole body is shrouded in a mysterious veil, making him unable to see through. But he is now sure that this person at least has no ill will towards him, and he is right, he doesn't care whether he is grateful or not, and he has even seen through his own person a long time ago. Thinking of this, he has no need to pretend. Anyway, I feel like a transparent person in front of him, and if I do too much, it will make people disgusted. It's just that Lu Chengkong was wrong. Ichimaru Yin was very smart and cunning, and he never even had any feelings for anyone other than Luanju, but Lu Chengkong saved him and Luanju today, and taught them so much, even letting himself become a god of death, with many benefits. Hishimaru Yin is not grateful, so it is a lie. It's just that the depth of the city and his childhood experiences made him vigilant in the face of this kind of situation that was all good. Those who launch the conditions would think that there is no free lunch in the world, and that Lu Chengkong was also beating him or messing about with Juju's ideas, but apparently not now. He could see that there was no use in Lu Chengkong's eyes, and he even let go of his heart completely, without any retreat, and completely allowed himself to look directly into his eyes. Appreciate it without hesitation. Huh, I'm finally back. It's really tiring to chat with that squinting man. You really admire you for living with him for so long. Lu Chengkong returned to the 11th team and stretched his waist. Puff. Lu Chengkong's words made Matsumoto Ranju, who has been silent for some reason, who was completely different from the lively and cheerful character in the original book, finally showed a smile for the first time. The smile was like a flower, and the air in the room seemed to be infected, and the atmosphere became pleasant. Harmony a lot. That's right, laugh a little more, don't suppress your character. I think you should be living and experiencing in Liuhun Street to let you deliberately hide yourself. You don't need it here. As I said, I like you, a lively, cheerful, passionate, strong and forthright woman. Compared with Squinting, I don't like him very much except for his behavior. Lu Chengkong looked at Matsumoto Ranju Lu Chengkong with a smile and felt that his mood was relieved. Actually, silver is not as bad as you say. It's just that our childhood experiences and life forced us to wear masks to protect ourselves. Luan Zhu may have also realized that Lu Chengkong has no ill will towards him, otherwise he wouldn't need to fly so many planes. With the opponent's strength, he would just wave his hand to kill him and others, and if he was greedy for his own beauty, he wouldn't be able to resist either. Coupled with the short-term observation of Lu Chengkong's reckless and straightforward performance, Ranju gradually relaxed his vigilance and spoke more. At the same time, he also slowly showed the charm and cheerfulness of Matsumoto Ranju in the original book. I'm not interested in knowing what kind of person he is, whether he is good or bad. There are no absolute bad people and no absolute good people in this world. It's just that they have different positions. Well, don't talk nonsense. Today I will teach you the knowledge and combat skills of the God of Death. How much you can learn depends on you. Use this spiritual power for your own use, and sooner or later something will happen to you. Lu Chengkong secretly glanced at the Jade Girl Peak, which was jumping up and down because of Matsumoto Ranju's charming smile. Although it was not as high as the mature and plentiful number 1 Maiba in the original book, it had already begun to take shape and had great potential for development. Around the age of 20, she looks plump and an adult woman in her 20s, but Luan Zhu still looks very young at this time. With the addition of Matsumoto Ranju, a beautiful girl with wavy blonde hair, the life of Lu Chengkong, accompanied by the innocent and active Yachinliu, is not so noisy. It is worth mentioning that Matsumoto Ranju's lively and cheerful life will soon be with Hachi. Chinliu got together, and even Ba Chinliu said to Matsumoto Ranju like a big sister, as long as she was still there, no one would dare to hurt you. With my Ba Chinliu looking after you, you can walk sideways. For the cute and eccentric Ba Chinliu, I believe that no one can resist her charm, not even Matsumoto Ranju. After a period of time together, Matsumoto Ranju has completely relaxed, all guards have been removed, and it has returned to its original state. Of course, when Lu Chengkong is free, he will also tease this beautiful blonde girl who has grown over time. It is worth mentioning that Matsumoto Ranju, who has not been deprived of his spiritual power under Lu Chengkong's teaching, really shows a shocking expression. Trembling talent. The knowledge of the God of Death is basically obvious at a glance, and he often draws inferences from other facts. His learning ability is super powerful, and he has initially controlled the spiritual power of the body after awakening the Zanpakuto and transformed it into a spiritual pressure. After Matsumoto Ranju has been able to control his own spiritual pressure, there is no longer the look of the spiritual power that radiates all over the sky. At least it won't attract the attention of interested people. At the same time, her spiritual pressure strength has improved by leaps and bounds. It can be called 1,000 miles in a day. But he is looking forward to the future more and more, and he really wants to know how far Matsumoto Ranju, who has not been deprived of his spiritual power, will develop in the future. During this period of time, Lu Chengkong has lived a very comfortable life, but soon he will no longer be able to maintain such a comfortable life, because today I actually received an order from Hell Butterfly, which made Lu Chengkong have to be serious. You must know that you are not a member of the 13th Division of the Guardian, and you will receive Hell Butterfly. It seems that things are not easy. 388 upcoming expeditions. The conference room of the captain of the first team was full of people at this time, but this time, almost no one was the captain. You must know that the generals who enter here are the captain's death gods, but today there is no one except Zaraki Kenpachi. It is the captain. It seems that old man Yamamoto intends to train the next captain of the death god, and basically all the dead gods here have the potential to become the deputy captain and the captain. It's all here. The old man Yamamoto frowned, and his majestic and serious eyes glanced at everyone present. Those who came into contact with his eyes were all dodging directly, but looking directly at the old man Yamamoto, no matter where he was. No matter how powerful the person is Aizen or Kazuki Urahara in the future, After all, they are all looking directly at a young eagle, and they have never experienced wind and rain. Of course, there are no exceptions. There are at least 3 unique people present. Needless to say, everyone has guessed it. One is Lu Chengkong, who is teasing Bachenliu in his arms, and the other is staying in Lu Chengkong's arms and being teased and giggling. Yakiryu, the last one, is of course Kenpachi Zaraki, who is standing there sleeping with his Zanpakudo. Old man Yamamoto saw that the 3 guys dared to ignore his own majesty. He snorted. A big tic-tac-toe appeared on his forehead. Just as he was about to give Lu Chengkong a good education class for the 3 of them, Lu Chengkong seemed to be knowing what the old man Yamamoto was thinking. He actually grabbed ahead of him and said, "Captain Yamamoto, you are worried about Aizen, Hiriko, Yaiki and others who came here to discuss important matters must be secrets. I am not the death god of the 13th Division of the Protectorate, so it is difficult to know these secrets, and 8,000 the flow is still small. It is better for the 2 of us to retreat first." The old man Yamamoto just gathered some words. Prepare to educate Lu Chengkong. I didn't expect this kid who was so shrewd by everyone to actually turn his army into the army. The implication is that we are not from the 13th Division of the Guardian. There is no need to listen to you. And also call the secret. Even Yamamoto couldn't refute it in the first place. After all, he wanted to be a righteous and disciplined image and set an example for everyone, especially the **** of death who were not afraid of the sky and the earth in front of him, and he had to pay more attention to his own shape. Jing Lingting has to fight against foreign enemies. All the gods of death must participate, and today I have discussed with the captains, considering that the gods of death Lu Chengkong and Bachenliu have achieved excellent results in the True Central Spiritual Arts Academy, ranking first in the top 3, special approval join the second team, no appeal, and immediate execution. Quote. Bullshit, is it possible for me, a small character, to dispatch so many captains of death to discuss it? Obviously, this bastard doesn't want my master to be at ease, and he specially does it for me. Lu Chengkong looked at the old man Yamamoto with strange eyes, but unfortunately, the old man Yamamoto has not lived in vain for so many years. What kind of battles have he experienced? Sky gaze. Since you are now a member of the 13th Division of the Guardian, then you can listen to these secrets. The old man Yamamoto said with a blank face, but his heart was full of joy, and let you fight with me. The old man is very experienced. He just didn't care about you before, but unfortunately, the proud old man Yamamoto didn't notice that Aizen and others were looking at him with strange eyes. Okay, let's go straight to the topic. I plan to let you join the expedition team. I don't know why there are more and more phantoms at the junction of the corpse soul world and the virtual circle recently, which puts a lot of pressure on the death gods of the expedition team. Sending support, and the presence of the elite among the gods of death, it is also a good way to hone your strength. Quote. The old man Yamamoto may have really made a decision now, and there is no room for negotiation. Shanghai, you'll be fine, now you're the prospective son-in-law of the Kuchiki family, and you're about to go through the door. The chief captain of the Kuchiki family in Yamamoto doesn't dare to give you small shoes. We Zitong people are very dangerous. You must take care of me when the time comes. Hiriko Mako was still so spoofed, walked out of the conference room and rushed over. The passionate eyes made Kuchiki Shanghai's scalp numb for a while. Mako, you've got 5 seats now. Besides Yaiki and Kenpachi, you are the one with the highest position. You should take care of me. Kuchiki Shanghai was greeted by Hiriko Mako every day. Is also learned, and retorted calmly. Chengkong, you are my subordinate now, and you haven't come to meet the future captain. Saifeng Yuan Yi said to Lu Chengkong with a proud face, as if he was coming to flatter me, because with Lu Chengkong's intervention, Saifeng Yuan Yaiki and Urahara Kazuki did not have as deep a lifelong friendship as the original, and they were just friends and classmates of Zitong. Cut, I'll ask the captain of the 2nd Division to apply for resignation after a while. Bachenliu is still young. I want to take care of her as a daddy, so I don't have the time and energy to go on an expedition. Lu Chengkong pretended to be me. He looks very busy, and even Aizen has to say with that superb armor skill, this guy is better at pretending than me. Fuck you. Yi Dan scolded with a smile, this guy is simply more lazy than himself. When Lu Chengkong was about to leave after saying a few words to the students of the God of Death who were still getting along relatively happily, Deadwood Xianghe walked over calmly, and left a sentence when passing by Lu Chengkong. Words. Be careful of the revenge of the Kuchiki family. The expedition team is in charge of Kuchiki Byakuya's father, Kuchiki Sosun. You are also careful of Kuchiki Yinling. Don't let him arouse your righteousness, otherwise you will not be able to contact Muramasa, and then. Lu Chengkong was stunned for a moment. He never thought that Xianghe, who usually didn't have a few sentences, would risk such a big risk to inform himself. It seems that he is not as bad as the original book said, but the villains have become the existence of the protagonist. So I couldn't help reminding him. Murama, what do you mean by Lu Chengkong? After all, Kuchiki Xianghe was still young and came from a commoner. How could he know the darkness of the struggle for political power? So he contacted Muramasa secretly and asked. Xianghe, I think he should have seen something. I feel that he has no ill will towards you. It shouldn't be to sow discord. I think you reminded him, so he didn't reciprocate. I didn't pay much attention to it before. Listening to him now, I seem to understand what he meant. The figure of Muramasa suddenly appeared in front of Kuchiki Xianghe. I have to say that the current relationship between the Lord and Kuchiki River is still very good. After all, there is no god of death who doesn't like his Zanpakuto. He must know that Zanpakuto is his soul. Part of it. How could I hate Zanpakuto? 389 The transformation of Xianghe. What do you mean? There are a lot of people in the Deadwood Xianghe. The advantage of not having it is that he is eager to learn. If he knows that he is not enough, as long as the other party's opinion is good and right, he will accept it. The original book will kill Muramasa, but it is just dizzy, plus it has been sealed for more than 100 years. Thinking that he was betrayed by the village is just like this. I think Kuchiki Yinling should value my ability. After all, the ability to control Zanpakuto is something I have never seen before. Otherwise, how could the Kuchiki family's disdain for civilians recruit you as a son-in-law, and he has recently been interested? The unintentional implication is that as long as you complete Bankai, the end of the expedition will put you in the core of the Deadwood family. Even the captain of the next 6th division will belong to you, but he told you not to depend on me. Obviously he is worried that you are too powerful and out of control. You must know that I am part of your soul. How can you depend on me? Only the complementarity is insufficient. In the same way, have you found your own recent changes? Your heart is no longer calm, and even when you look at some people, you will have the aristocratic face. Don't forget, you were once a member of the common people. Lu Chengkong is right, you didn't receive aristocratic education since you were a child, and it's hard to control your heart and not be confused by power. What's even more hateful is that he keeps provoking your power and letting you to be controlled by him. Don't forget the selfishness of the nobles. Kuchiki Byakuya is still there. Although he was defeated by Lu Chengkong and lost the face of Kuchiki's family, after all, he is still the direct bloodline, the only heir, and he is also a genius god of death. You become the captain of the 6th division, and more importantly, because of your changes, sometimes I can't sense your call. Combining the above factors, I will think that Lu Chengkong is not provoking discord, but that he sees you. Changes, and even saw through Kuchiki Yinling's conspiracy. Muramasa is worthy of being Muramasa. No wonder he was so weak that he was still able to cause a bloody storm in the Soul Society after he was sealed. Just from what he saw just now, he could be seen as a Zanpakuto sword spirit. Extraordinary. I have to say that his wisdom and analysis of people's hearts can be said to be a wonderful flower in Zanpakuto. Kuchiki Xianghe was stunned. He didn't pay attention to this at all before. He knew that Muramasa was one with him, and it was impossible for him to say anything harmful to him. Moreover, his reason told him that what Muramasa said was the truth. I broke it, and recalled the recent changes in myself. Except for some of the gods of death who I admired for their strength and my former classmates, I have actually changed a lot invisibly. I really can't control my power. Heart of. Muramasa, I was wrong. I can imagine. I may lose you in the future if it goes on like this. After all, Kuchiki Shanghai is a genius god of death, and he is just a young dark man who doesn't know political rights. In addition, in front of him is an old fox like Kuchiki Yinling. Where can the fledgling Shanghai be his opponent, and a series of sugar-coated cannonballs make him kind of get carried away. Now that he is completely awake, his impetuous heart has also calmed down at that moment, his eyes have returned to his shrewdness, he has lost his previous arrogance, and has returned to the approachable Roddenwood Shanghai. After he woke up, his state of mind had greatly improved. Even if he faced these rights again in the future, he would still be able to guard his heart. After eating a pendant and becoming wiser, Kuchiki Shanghai, who was completely awake, found that the connection between himself and Muramasa had returned to the feeling of understanding between his heart and his mind. For this, he was grateful to Lu Chengkong from the bottom of his heart. After all, he is not someone with deep scheming like Aizen and Ichimaru Jin. Lu Chengkong's words were of great help and kindness to him. Of course he was grateful to the other party, and at the same time he secretly determined that he would return this feeling in the future. At the same time, he was angry with Kuchiki Yinling. At this time, Lu Chengkong, who had already returned to the 11th first team and had invited Ichimaru Yin, had no idea that his words actually changed the future of Kuchiki Shanghai, but even if he knew, he would not care. After all, Lu Chengkong was that a person who you respect me a foot and I respect you a foot. He can kill people who have nothing to do with him without caring, he doesn't care about the life and death of others, but as long as he thinks about him, or has helped those who have helped him, he will not be ungrateful. Ichimaru Yin, your strength is good. It seems that you haven't wasted any time this year. Your strength is no worse than the 10 seats of any division. Staying in the true Central Spiritual Arts Academy is just a waste of time. Get ready, and you will be ready in a few days. To fight the virtual circle, the strength can only be improved in actual combat and life and death. What you lack now is fighting experience. I know what you are worried about. I will take Luanju with me, and you really think that you are the only one who will improve. Luanju will let him see your strength. Lu Chengkong glanced at Ichimaru Yin, and found that this kid has grown so much after only 1 year of strength. No wonder Aizen would like this kid, he is indeed very good. And he found that Ichimaru Yin did not play in front of him. Tricks. Lu Chengkong was very satisfied when he saw that he was trying to say something but then revealed his true thoughts. If there is any dissatisfaction, or just say it directly, there is no need to keep everything in mind and calculate this and that. Ha ha. Matsumoto Ranju smiled tenderly, and the charm that bloomed between her brows made her whole body feel hot, but as the spiritual pressure on her body was released, Ichimaru Jin's face changed. If Ichimaru Jin's strength is about 10 seats, so the strength of Luanju is at least 6 seats. Although Lu Chengkong had said before that Matsumoto Ranju's aptitude is very good, and the growth potential is terrible if his spiritual power is not taken away, but thinking that he has not wasted a little time to cultivate in the past year, he will be so different from Ranju, and in this year in it, he already knew what kind of person Lu Chengkong was, and also knew about Lu Chengkong's reputation and deeds in Jingling Court, so he also had no previous vigilance against Lu Chengkong, otherwise he would not put his true thoughts on the table. On the face. It seems that he really has no ill will towards me and Ranju. Otherwise, Ranju would not show such a happy look, and he would not teach her to have the power to protect herself. After he came down, he also made a decision. As long as he did not go against his will and had nothing to do with Luanju, he would seriously serve Lu Chengkong. Although he has a deep scheming now, he is not the original Ichimaru Jin after all. After this period of relaxation, he is not an unreasonable person. After the guard is removed, all that remains is gratitude, but he has not lost his sense. He also has his own bottom line. As long as he doesn't violate his bottom line, he doesn't care about doing things for Lu Chengkong. 390 Complete Bankai. After all, Lu Chengkong did have the grace of saving life and rebuilding for himself and Luanju, and it also gave Luanju and himself the power to protect themselves. In terms of strength, With the speed of strength improvement that Luanju is showing now, the spiritual power will really be taken away by someone with a heart. Every time he thinks of this, he is extremely shocked, and for this reason, he is very grateful to Lu Chengkong. Now Ichimaru-jin is not Ichimaru-jin who lived in Liushan Street before. After accepting the knowledge of the death sleeve and becoming the god of death, of course he learned about the god of death. After personal verification, he has completely believed what Lu Chengkong said. Yes, Ichimaru-yin didn't talk nonsense, he turned around and left. His performance and the performance of Luanju made Lu Chengkong more sure that the two of them were more than friendship at this time, and it was more about family. Developed to the point of the original. Lu Chengkong is right, the current blue dye has not given up, and finally found a person with such a powerful spiritual power, who is not a god of death, can fully use her spiritual power to conduct experiments, and there will be no resistance. Of course you won't give up so easily. It's better to keep a low profile before Luanju faces the strength of Aizen, but how can you find such a speed of progress as Luanju? After this battle, it is an ironclad fact that she has undergone the baptism of life and death and slaughtered blood and has been tempered to become a vice captain. And now Lu Chengkong has to do his own thing. Learning is like rowing a boat against the current. If you don't advance, you will retreat. He knows the meaning of this sentence very well, especially in the future with so many enemies, one will be stronger than the other. He was eliminated, and now he doesn't know who has completed the refill, and Shanghai's words made him feel a sense of crisis, and he must make his strength stronger before the expedition. This will make it safer. After all, Kuchiki Byakuya's father is not the Shinto Shinigami. This is a genuine captain-level Shinigami. The long-term and virtual combat strength is definitely not comparable to the current Kenpachi. The strength is absolutely lifeless. Protection barrier. Lu Chengkong came to the basement that he specially asked Kenpachi to find someone to build under his room. He pressed his hands on the ground, and a rectangular yellow barrier appeared immediately. He didn't want to use this not to protect it. Oneself, the most important ability of this enchantment is to refuse all exploration. Let your people not feel any spiritual power, and you can't see everything inside, even old man Yamamoto can't feel it, unless you break the barrier. Concretize. As soon as Lu Chengkong's words came out, Sophie's graceful figure appeared in front of her. It might be because she had been holding back her spiritual world for too long. After she came out, Sophie moved her body first, and after a while, she was using serious. His eyes looked at Lu Chengkong. Have you decided? I said before that because we are outsiders, even if we become a god of death and become a part of this world, but you will be more than ordinary people when you are in Shikai, Bankai, or what you call a blur. Many times more difficult. Bankai is at least 5 times more difficult than other Reaper completing Bankai. Of course the law of the world is absolute justice. Since you have become a part of this world, you have to go through greater difficulties than others to become Bankai, virtual, then believe it, when you finish, you will get more than others. Mighty Shikai, Bankai, Bokeh. Chengkong knew Sophie's words firsthand, because he had fully utilized Shikai to the fullest, and all his potential had been tapped out. No one knew better than him how terrifying his Shikai would be if he exploded with all his strength. The greater the danger, the greater the gain. Shikai is already so scary, so what about Bankai and Ether? Let's start. Although the outer defense of this barrier is not as big as 5 eggs, it has excellent defense from the inside. I developed it specially to complete Bankai. Lu Chengkong did not retreat because of the dangers and difficulties that Sophie said, but when he heard that he had completed Bankai, the power was far beyond that of other death gods. There are also issues of potential and paying a price. Okay, even if I want to stop after the battle begins, unless you make me yield, go all out, you can't kill me, don't worry. Sophie said that there was an identical Snowdrink Mad Knife in Lu Chengkong's hand, and he started the fight without saying a word. He thought that each Bankai test of the God of Death was different. Lu Chengkong didn't need to look for a knife like a household, but it is relatively straightforward to fight with her own Snowdrink Crazy Blade, but Sophie's strength is absolutely terrifying, and the level of danger and difficulty is indeed not comparable to the Benkai that Kurosaki Ichigo did with the help of external forces. The 7 days passed quickly, and today is the time to leave, but Lu Chengkong has not shown up until now, which makes Yi very worried. After all, old man Yamamoto is not joking. Usually old man Yamamoto doesn't care about Lu Chengkong. However, at that time, because Lu Chengkong had this value and capital, and he did not violate old man Yamamoto's bottom line. But now it's not time to gather, that is to openly defy the orders of old man Yamamoto. This is not a joke. It is not only nobles who need face, but old man Yamamoto, the current supreme ruler of the Soul Society, needs more face. Bachenliu, where has Chengkong gone? Why haven't I seen him for 7 days? He won't have an accident, right? Yi waited for a long time and still couldn't see Lu Chengkong. Asked, his worries and concerns were clearly expressed, which made Yachenliu very satisfied with Yi. Because she knew that Yi's concern for Lu Chengkong was pure. There is no trace of interest or impurities, and it is precisely because of this that Bachenliu has such a good relationship with Yi and developed so fast. Otherwise Bachenliu would not let Yi hug him, except for Lu Chengkong and Mao. Besides Jawali, only Yi can hold Bachenliu. I don't know. Bachenliu shook his head. In fact, she knew, but she knew the importance. Otherwise, she would not have won the love and affection of Lu Chengkong and Mao Jawali. Small, but she is very shrewd and smart, knowing what not to say and what to say, especially about Lu Chengkong. Bachenliu is very careful and never tells anyone, not even her mother Maojihua. Lai didn't say anything. 391 The highest state of lying. Lord Captain, Lu Chengkong is incoherent. He was late for such an important task, and he is late for no one. I think he should be blamed. Kuchiki Byakuya, who had been missing for a long time, suddenly appeared today. Look at him, the appearance is obviously also a member of the expedition. After the last loss, he was very angry and ashamed. Every time he thought that he wanted to apologize and beg for mercy and see the disdainful eyes of other gods of death, Kuchiki Byakuya was annoyed to the sky. For this reason, his grandfather specially taught him this paragraph. Over time, it is obvious that his strength has become much stronger, and his cultivation has also improved a lot, but if there is a chance that Lu Chengkong's affairs will fall into the ground, he doesn't care about meddling at all. Meddling. You must know that his anger towards Lu Chengkong from the beginning and a little bit of jealousy has now turned into a deep hatred, which can be described as endless death, especially when he learned that he lost and a person from Shanghai joined his family. And that person is actually a civilian. Kuchiki Byakuya, who has always looked down on civilians, is even more disgusted because of Lu Chengkong, so he is very opposed to this, and he is very disliked by Kuchiki Shanghai. What he couldn't accept was that his grandfather, who had always loved him, actually rejected his proposal. A joke. How could you give up such a terrible ability to control Zanpakuto just because you don't like commoners? Not only that, but he also found that his grandfather had a crush on Kuchiki. He is very good, and even has the pretense of giving him the captaincy of the 6th Division and the air. Fake it. If even Byakuya can't deceive him, then he can deceive other people like this. Now, although he did not have a direct conflict with Kuchiki Kyukawa, they also looked at each other secretly. Kuchiki Byakuya looked down on Kuchiki Kyukawa as a commoner, and robbed him of his status and everything. Byakuya himself thought. Of course, the relationship with Shanghai is not good. On the other hand, Kuchiki Shanghai learned about the conspiracy of the Kuchiki family and was very angry at Kuchiki Yinling's actions. However, after a test of power, he was obviously more shrewd than before. At least on the surface, nothing happened. It looks like, but in my heart I make up my mind. Don't you want to use me and control me? Then I will also use your Deadwood family to strengthen my strength. By the way, I will be an undercover agent and tell Lu Chengkong your plan or secret to tell Lu Chengkong to prepare again, and then you will not be able to eat and walk around. He didn't think about it. He turned his face and left, but his reason told him that his strength was still weak. At least it was indeed weaker than the Kuchiki family, and the Kuchiki family gave him very rich conditions and resources. He knows that his strength will definitely increase faster if he uses all of this. Without enough strength, everything is empty talk. Now the deadwood Shanghai is arrogant because of the power of the hand. He sees the essence of the world. The big fist is hard. The truth is, as long as his strength is strong enough, even if he turns his face on the deadwood family, he is not asking for himself. Of course, the premise is that his strength is strong enough to surpass the deadwood family. Hee, very good. The worse the relationship between your nobles and Lu Chengkong, the better, so that Lu Chengkong will have no place to stay except me. But this kid is too disrespectful to me. Not only is he late but also I haven't shown up for so long, so I have to beat and beat. The old man Yamamoto was expressionless, but his heart blossomed with joy. He understood the technique of checks and balances of power. The worse the relationship between Lu Chengkong and the nobles, the more unreturnable he would feel for Lu Chengkong. In his opinion, apart from there is no place for Lu Chengkong to stay outside of him. It's a pity that he doesn't know that Lu Chengkong will not be under any control at all, and he will not rely on anyone or power. As long as he has full wings, he can go to the virtual circle or the world, and even if he is strong enough, he can stay there. In the corpse and soul world, Old Man Yamamoto can't be killed, and Old Man Yamamoto can't do anything about himself, so everything in this world is false, and the most important thing is his own strength. Just when the Old Man Yamamoto was planning to punish Lu Chengkong when he opened his mouth to give the order, Lu Chengkong appeared late, and at the same time, he didn't give the old man a chance to speak as if he had already prepared. Sorry for making you wait for a long time. I went to talk to Captain Uno Hanalai before because of something, so I came late. When Lu Chengkong told a lie, his face was not blushing or he was out of breath, so that Old Man Yamamoto could not see any flaws, and when talking about things with usual lie, Lu Chengkong clearly caught Old Man Yamamoto's slight shrinkage. The pupils further confirmed Lu Chengkong's thoughts. Maojawali was definitely not simple. In fact, Lu Chengkong had been fighting Sophie for 7 days, and it ended on the night of the 6th day. No one knew the result, but the only thing worth mentioning was that when Lu Chengkong came out, his whole body was covered with sharp swords. The scars he had cut and his clothes were tattered. Fortunately, Lu Chengkong had changed out of the clothes that Khalifa and Wen Kook had made for him in advance, otherwise he would have been distressed to death. In the end, Bachanliu picked him up and sent him to Maojawali. Maybe it was because of Bachanliu. Maojawali was also quite good to Lu Chengkong, or because Lu Chengkong was independent and special, or Bachanliu mentions himself in the ears of Ujawali every day, and for disturbing him late at night, is Ujawali also. Instead of getting angry, he greeted Bakianlu very gently to take a rest and let the general treat his injuries. Captain Ujawali, what do you want to talk about with him? But Yamamoto is Yamamoto after all, so he's not so easy to fool. He doesn't believe that Ujawali keeps calm and treats everything equally. The captain will have something to talk about with Lu Chengkong. Don't you know, Bachanliu's mother is the captain of Ujawa, of course I'm going to talk to her. Lu Chengkong started to talk about bullshit again. He just knew that time was running out. Old Man Yamamoto, I didn't have time to go to Ujawali to confirm that, even if I went to find it, I wouldn't be here. At that time, I would not be here. Even if the Old Man Yamamoto found himself, he would not be able to settle the account, and Lu Chengkong didn't speak, but Ujawali was 8,000. The mother of the stream, of course, is the godmother. What? The moody Old Man Yamamoto couldn't sit still anymore. If that was the case, then he couldn't arrange Lu Chengkong and Bachanliu as he had planned in his heart. He was shocked, but he also knew that Lu Chengkong wouldn't lie. After all, he would find out if he went to Ujawali to ask, so it was true. If he had anything to do with Ujawali, Old Man Yamamoto would have to take a serious look at it. What's so strange? Yi already knows about it. If you don't believe me, ask her, or ask Captain Azuki Hanalai. Lu Chengkong looked uninvited, but he knew in his heart that he was going to eat Old Man Ding Shanbin. At least for a while, Old Man Li Man Shanbin would not dare to mess up because of the relationship between Bachanliu and Maojawali, at least after investigating clearly. Bachenliu would not have any bad arrangements for Lu Chengkong and Bachenliu until the amount of weight in Mao Zhawali's heart. 392 Kiss Night 1. Since we're looking for Captain Azuki Huali, then there must be something important. Forget it this time, it won't be an example next time. The words of old man Yamamoto made Byakuya Kuchiki a big blow. Is this the old man Yamamoto who pays the most attention to records, words and deeds, and absolutely punishes the god of death who makes mistakes? Anyone with a discerning eye could see that Yamamoto was trying to help, but no one dared to say anything at the moment with the power of the old man Yamamoto. Hey, aren't you angry? Why don't we fight again? Lu Chengkong smiled smugly, and glanced at Kuchiki Byakuya disdainfully and said, whoever is not afraid of whoever, don't think that if you win once, you will win for the rest of your life. Today is different from the past. If you want to die, I don't mind fulfilling you. Kuchiki Byakuya's face was extremely gloomy. He didn't expect Lu Chengkong to be so arrogant, but looking at his appearance, it was obvious that he was very confident in his own strength after his great strength and could defeat Lu Chengkong. What kind of decency? What is needed now is unity. If I let the old man know that you are fighting in the nest, then I will never forgive you lightly. The low voice of the old man Yamamoto suddenly came, making Byakuya Kuchiki dare not say anything, but Lu Chengkong shrugged his shoulders indifferently, but he knew that Byakuya Kuchiki or his father would never let him go on the expedition. In their opinion, since people who are rebellious and unruly are immortal, they don't mind to offend a little deeper. Don't do this. After all, Bai Zai is the leader of the four nobles. Be careful, the Kuchiki family is not as simple as you think. The hidden power of the first noble in the soul realm is terrible. There are a lot of books, resources and captain level. Reaper's unreserved teaching experience and the help of some other tools plus Bai Zai's talent. I think Bai Zai has become Bankai, otherwise he will not be so confident. This is the gap between the nobles and the commoners. He has the best conditions and excellent talent. He doesn't need to explore Shikai Bankai's cultivation path by himself. No matter how talented you are, you have to rely on your own exploration. It's better to stay by everyone's side, otherwise it's easy to get into trouble. I received news that the leader of this expedition is Byakuya's father, Kuchiki Sosun. Yi walked by Lu Chengkong's side and left a sentence in his ear. Even if Lu Chengkong didn't catch a cold on the people of this world, he had to be moved a little. You must know that he only has desire for any woman other than Bachenliu, including Yuichi, and he has no feelings at all. His feelings are all put away with the seal of the ring and the deep sleep of Khalifa and others. Yi did not have the air of aristocratic and arrogant, but was approachable. He has always been very concerned about himself, and even told himself a lot of information and secrets, and even taught himself the Shunpo secret skills of the Sifeng family. You must know that this is the essence of the Sifeng family, except for the patriarch and some apart from the core elders. Only the heir of the patriarch, Yi, can learn these Shunpo secret skills. Even the empty cicada that Byakuya learned from Yi in the original book is nothing but fur. The basic set is not the essence, otherwise the Sifeng family would not allow Bai Zai to learn the empty cicada without saying anything, and now Yi passed it to Lu Chengkong with the most essence, the powerful Shunpo, not the other death god captains. Comparable. After all, the reason Yi will be able to become a Shun god in the future is because of the powerful Shunbu secret skills of the Sifeng family. Even if Lu Chengkong has a heart of iron stone, he can't help but feel a little bit of emotion. Shang Yi couldn't help but flash a hint of tenderness in his eyes, but at this moment he didn't use Bingxin to freeze this tenderness. What are you doing looking at me like this? Do I have flowers on my face? Yi clearly noticed the change in Lu Chengkong's eyes. Yi, who has always been carefree, didn't know why he felt a little flustered, as if there was a deer in his own mind. It seemed like she was jumping around, so she had to change the subject. But at the same time, she was also a little happy. She finally found that Lu Chengkong looked at her with a little more emotion. Even if it was just a little bit, Yi was very happy. Even after so many years, she found that today was the happiest day. Woo! Yi Yi's eyes widened, and what he wanted to say was only a pity that he could only make a whimper. And all the gods of death nearby were either Aizen, Ichimaru Jin, Kuchiki Hikari, or Kuchiki Byakuya. Their eyes widened, as if they had seen something unbelievable. I saw that Lu Chengkong suddenly embraced Yi Yi in his arms. After a few years, Yi Yi, who looked like a 10-year-old auntie, has grown into a beautiful girl. Before she even had time to react, she was blown away. To make himself very intoxicated, the man's breath full of security has confused his will. When she came back to her senses, she found that her small mouth had been kissed by Lu Chengkong, and a big tongue broke through her teeth, directly entangled the clove tongue that she had no time to dodge, and slapped her mouth fiercely. The nectar in it. My first kiss was gone. He kissed. Does it mean he likes me? Why do I not feel angry at all? In addition to being embarrassed, there is a touch of sweetness and fulfillment. Yi Yi's clear eyes that had been restored slowly became hazy, watery as if it was about to drip, but after a symbolic struggle, not only did she not struggle, on the contrary, she acted like Lu Chengkong's control. His little sweet tongue clumsily responded to Lu Chengkong, and 2 blushes rose on his cheeks. Master. Pingzi Meiko looked at Lu Chengkong with gleaming eyes, and regretted it in his heart. He knew earlier that he should learn a few tricks from Lu Chengkong, at least he wouldn't have to be eaten to death by the persimmons like now. It's amazing, it's even better than me. I'm just a child. This guy has directly become the heir to the future patriarch of the Saifeng Yuan family. This is a master. Kuchiki Shanghai found that he had never admired a person so much in his life, but the person in front of him forced him to write a word of service. Not only has his strength been ahead of himself and others, he also said that the luck bubble button is also ahead of himself and others. In front, or accidentally soaked in a superb. Damn, has Yi Yi been brainwashed? You actually like a commoner, don't you know that you are a noble? Kuchiki Byakuya felt that his brain was a little insufficient. Are civilians really that good? Even Saifeng Yuan Yi, whose eyes are higher than the top, likes this bastard. It's not easy. He captured Saifeng Yuan Yi quietly, so soon his capital will be richer. If Captain Ujawali really accepts Bachinliu as his daughter, it will be more troublesome in the future. Old man Yamamoto sighed inwardly. The young people today are really powerful enough. If they don't make a move, it will be earth-shattering. 393 Zergi, S. Wisdom. With his lips parted, Yi Yi looked up at Lu Chengkong with a shy but brave face, leaning against Lu Chengkong's arms, completely unaware that the 2 balls of soft flesh on his chest brought Lu Chengkong felt very comfortable. It seems that I have really met an opponent, my vision is sure. Yes, if we can't cooperate, the future enemy is very likely to be this man. I just don't know what your strength is now. If you can't keep up with my pace, then you are not qualified to cooperate with me, and you can only be someone who looks up to me. A gleam of light flashed in the depths of Aizen's eyes, especially when he saw Ichimaru Jin and Matsumoto Ranju next to Lu Chengkong. He immediately understood that Lu Chengkong should have rescued these 2 people, and when he saw Matsumoto Ranju at this time, the fact that Reiatsu was so strong surprised him. Now he regrets it. He knew that he would just do a complete hypnosis in person, but now he has no chance. Okay, let's go, let's tighten the team. The old man Yamamoto rubbed his head, feeling like he was a bit outdated, and in the end he always left a sentence and left immediately, while Lu Chengkong was holding Bachinliu, dragged Yi Yi and set off with the death god troop transporting supplies, and the others followed after watching. However, their faces are a bit strange. Obviously they have their own ideas, but there is one thing that is the same, that is, they have a competitive heart in their hearts, want to compare each other. Wait until the expedition's over when the team is on the edge of the soul world, you may be able to see who is the strongest. These guys, it seems that 7 out of 10 have become Bankai, but it seems that they only have a preliminary understanding of Bankai. It is not so simple to master Bankai thoroughly and make the best of it. There should be these, Aizen, Urahara Kazuki, Yoichi, Tosenyao, Kashimura Zojin, Kuchiki Hikari, Hirako Meiko, Hungchao Lujiro, Aikawa Rao, Liucha Kensai, Kuchiki Byakuya. Lu Chengkong thought while walking. It seems that this expedition will not be too quiet. The storm is always calm before the storm. Lu Chengkong was cold to Isho. He didn't care about the dangers that he would encounter this time, but he was full of confidence. That is based on the confidence of strong strength. Janba, there are definitely many opponents fighting with you this time, but this time you can't mess around. You have to cut the grass and root, otherwise we will be very troublesome, and may even lead to death. When no one was paying attention, Lu Chengkong quietly said to Kenpachi Zengaki, the only one present who was the captain. It can be said that among the Shinigami who visited this time, the one with the highest official position was Kenpachi Zengaki. A lot of powerful opponents. Haha, that's great, don't worry, I don't want this to prevent me from having a chance to fight in the future. Zakagi Kenpachi first flashed a hint of joy and fighting intent, and then it's a guarantee, who said Zaraki Kenpachi is just a beast who only knows how to fight. 5i Dahu has been the captain for more than 200 years without being beaten down. You must know that the battle for the position of the captain is very fierce, especially after the power struggle is changed. Just like now, when the old man Yamamoto was in power, he couldn't wait to cultivate the masked corps, Aizen, Kazuki and others, that is, to replace them as the former captains, including Kenpachi Zaraki. If Kenpachi was really mindless, old man Yamamoto wouldn't teach him kendo personally, he wasted so much time on him, and in the original book, the 46th room was in power, almost all the old captains were replaced, and only Hizaraki Kenpachi stood to the point where no one in the original overthrew him as the captain. You must know that Aizen also kept the position of captain after hypnotizing the 46th room. Shiro Yukitaki and Jingle Chunchui were because they were the disciples of the old man Yamamoto. The 46th room could not force the old man Yamamoto too hastily, so he did not. They will attack them. In addition to that, all the captains who were trained when the old man Yamamoto was in power were overthrown. So it's not that Zakagi Kenpachi has no brains or wisdom, but he won't show his wisdom unless it is necessary, and will solve it with the Zanpakudo in his hand. At the junction of the corpse soul world and the virtual circle, at this time one is wearing a feather weave, the neck scarf is a white wind flower yarn, and he is dressed in aristocratic clothes, exuding innate nobility, but he can see from his pale face. He should be the weaker constitution by nature, and his eyes are not fierce at all. As the captain of the expedition team in such a place where he fights Daxu every day, he doesn't have much viciousness. Obviously, he is a timid person. He has more than enough defense and insufficient attack. It is no wonder that he died in the chaos of war. People. Leaving behind a man named Lu Chengkong and a little girl named Bachinliu, who could easily defeat Bai Zai 2 years ago, so 2 years later, according to his past performance, he should be stronger, and he can't leave any evidence. It seems to be a little more secretive. Let's give him a trick. The family's order and his own son Bai Zai were humiliated. Even if he was timid, he became violent. He had already decided in his heart that when Lu Chengkong came, he must look good. He must not let him die so easily and offend the Kuchiki family. People must die. Master Kuchiki Kangjun, the team to transport materials and supplies has arrived, and Master Byakuya is among them. This is a letter from Captain Yamamoto to you. A death god came in to report and immediately gave a secret order to Kuchiki. Kang Chun then bowed his head and backed out. Are they all geniuses of death? It seems that the old ghost Yamamoto is not willing to be lonely. Let me take care of these little ghosts, let them feel the cruelty and blood of the battlefield, but not let their lives go wrong. It seems that these should be someone who is going to become the captain or vice captain of the god of death in the future. I actually rejected our Kuchiki family before and chose a commoner, so I don't bother to care about you. Kuchiki Kangchun sneered at Isho, but he didn't care about the chaos in his heart. After all, the old man Yamamoto was in full swing. If there was a problem with these gods of death, it would be bad. I will sell you a favor and let these little devils be safe and sound, but Lu Chengkong and Bachinliu must die, just to let you future captains and vice captains remember that no matter what your future achievements are, even if you become the captain, you must know how to offend you. No one from the Kuchiki family can save you. After making the decision, Kuchiki Kangchun walked out, and soon saw a group of new death gods, with childish faces on their faces, obviously, never experienced the baptism of bismuth fire, and he also got his son by Zai, but now so many people are looking at him and are embarrassed to say anything, and can only talk to Byakuya in private. 394. It's these two people, look at how powerful you are, and dare to let you offend the Kuchiki family. Kuchiki Kangchun doesn't care whether his innate constitution is weak or timid, he is the real captain of death after all, and how could he be so weak that he could live in such an environment until now? Suddenly, a powerful spiritual pressure descended on everyone except Byakuya. As the contemporary head of the Kuchiki family, how could he be weaker than the already dead ghost Yancheng sword? 8 is even stronger. Do you want to get rid of the horse? HMPH, stupid, I really don't understand how such a person can become the head of the family, and even people like Lan Ran have to give him a horse. Aren't you afraid? Lu Chengkong snorted disdainfully, and immediately released his spiritual pressure to directly collide with Kuimu Kangchun's spiritual pressure. Boom. Originally, the sand on the sand floated up because of its majesty, and there was a little smoke and dust from time to time, but with the two people's spiritual pressure against each other, all the sand in the area of the two spiritual pressures was pressed down, and there was no slight breeze. It all seems to be frozen. The captain-level god of death. Even more arrogant than that ghost Yancheng Kenpachi, haha, good. Zanaki Kenpachi laughed, he was a typical lawless lord, and the violent Reiatsu directly formed the essence like a storm. Rush to the dead wood Kangchun. Kuchiki Kangchun was surprised at how long Lu Chengkong had become a god of death, but he was able to compete with himself on the strength of the spiritual pressure. Although he did not have Shikai, Bankai, the spiritual pressure was not raised to the limit at all, but it was too scary. No wonder his father must kill him, this kind of enemy is too dangerous. Just when he was about to increase the strength of the spiritual pressure, he was shocked to find that a yellow spiritual pressure that was stronger than himself was directly pressing on his body. The sudden pressure caused Kuchiki Kangchun's straight waist Vivi to bend. One time. How is that possible? The spiritual pressure is actually materialized. Even I need Bankai to materialize the spiritual pressure. How can there be such a master in this group of people? Kuchiki Kangchun's face changed greatly, but the good show was still to come. Lu Chengkong and Janba's continuous increase of Ling 11 made him at a disadvantage. On the one side, Hirako Mako, Kuchiki Shanghai and others were also angry. They didn't expect to be attacked when they first arrived. Even someone with a deep mind like Aizen flashed a trace of anger. After all, they are still young now. I can't do the future +6 in the mood and anger. So they didn't care who the other party was. They released their spiritual pressure to the maximum and directly pressed Kuchiki Kangchun. It can be said that apart from Kuchiki Byakuya who didn't make a move, even Aizen and Urahara Kazuki, the two scheming people, were present. The gods of death have released their own spirits. It can be said that under normal circumstances, apart from Kenpachi, even Lu Chengkong's spirit 11 in his normal state can't compare to Kuchiki Kangchun without Bankai. Ichigo and Renji initially understood Bankai, but they mastered Bankai's death like Kuchiki Byakuya in the original book. Even if Lu Chengkong and others were geniuses, they only became death for a few years. Of course, it is impossible for an old monster that is hundreds of years old like the opponent to catch up with the strength of the opponent's spiritual pressure so quickly. After all, the strength of the spiritual pressure is accumulated over time, and the speed of accumulation depends on the level of personal opportunity and talent. Different. But more than half of the people present had at least the vice captain's spiritual pressure, plus a Zengi Kenpachi whose spiritual pressure was stronger than Kuchiki Kangchun, and Lu Chengkong's spiritual pressure that made people feel cold physically and mentally. The Reiatsu of so many people was combined against one person and immediately crushed him to his knees. Damn, I am the owner of the Deadwood clan, and I was crushed to the ground by the spiritual pressure of these little devils. Shame, I can only use your blood to wash away my shame. Under the stimulation of shame, even Kuchiki Kangchun, who is usually timid, has red eyes. He doesn't care about old man Yamamoto's words at all. The big deal is that he was killed by a sneak attack by Daxu. He did not believe that old man Yamamoto would be killed because of these little devils dare to question themselves. Let's fight. It's a pity that he didn't have time. Shikai Zaragi Kenpachi couldn't wait to rush over and slashed it with one knife. A kind of unstoppable, invincible berserk, terrifying aura that is crazy regardless of life and death. Obviously, Kenpachi has combined his skills in the one power down 10 guild that he is good at with his own understanding, and with his own momentum, he has the current sword technique. Father. Kuchiki Byakuya's expression changed, and he knew that Kenpachi was equal to a beast in his heart, but he knew very well that this guy would be deadly in battle, and he saw that Kenpachi's performance at this time was obviously better than that of Kenpachi. Since the beginning of the fight against Gui Yancheng Janbaqian, he was even stronger. In particular, the spiritual pressure seems to increase exponentially every day. Now it has 5 or 6 times the strength of the captain-level Reaper. The speed of the increase in the spiritual pressure of Kenpachi is terrifying, especially after such a huge Reiatsu, there is still such an increase in speed. I said, it's more fair to fight one-on-one. Don't the nobles think so, or do you think that the nobles of the Kuchiki family would not dare to fight a civilian one-on-one? If you admit this is the case, I don't mind letting you go. Lu Chengkong stopped Kuchiki Byakuya in a blink of an eye. How could he give Kuchiki Byakuya a chance to destroy the battle between Zengi Kenpachi and Kuchiki Soshun? Such battles are rare, and the improvement of strength begins to have it's a great help, and the stronger Zakagi Kenpachi is, the happier he is. Lu Chengkong, you didn't have to die so quickly, you could live a little longer. Since you want to die so much, I will fulfill you. It is a crime for Zhengmu Janba to attack the captain of the expedition team for no reason. Instead of persuading you, you prevent me from punishing Sinner, then you are complicit, scatter Senbon Sakura. Byakuya Kuchiki roared with murderous intent. Grass, how come I didn't realize that this stinky kid's mouth is so powerful before? The black one can be said to be plain. It's obviously the white-faced ghost who released the spiritual pressure to us. Okay, Xiao Chengkong, I support you in spirit, cut it off. Him. Hiriko Meiko shouted for fear that the world would not be in chaos, and the others did not stop it. Obviously, they were very dissatisfied with Kuchiki Byakuya and Kuchiki Byakuya, and they wanted to take this to see how Lu Chengkong and Kuchiki Byakuya made progress. How old, especially Lu Chengkong, Aizen and Urahara Kazuki are even more focused on staring at the two who have been fighting together. But not many people are watching Kenpachi Zaraki and Kingjun Kuchiki who are fighting at the captain level. 395 fighting Kuchiki Byakuya again. It's still this trick, can you give me a little help? Lu Chengkong said helplessly, as if he looked down on the beautiful cherry blossoms in front of him. When death is imminent, he is still stubborn, the 31 red artillery of breaking the road. In an instant, everyone saw that Kuchiki Byakuya's strength was simply a world and a place compared to the time when he fought against Lu Chengkong. Kuchiki Byakuya is at least 10 times stronger than the previous one. This is still in Shikai's state. It is not a simple Reiatsu that is more than 10 times stronger, but a combination of strength. 31 ghosts don't even need to be chanted, and their power is not much worse than when they were chanted. It seems that the Kuchiki family is indeed the largest family, and the resources and conditions are far from what we can compare. Lisa Yahomaru was surprised. At least she can't do that. Che, if he can't do this even with such good conditions, he is not qualified to enter the genius class. This handsome guy is more powerful than him. Hiriko Meiko said stinkingly, but this time, no one refuted his words. In fact, before Aizen conducted the blurring experiment on Hiriko Meiko, his strength was among the best among everyone, even Aizen was not his opponent. Of course, it means that Aizen's strength improved by leaps and bounds after the defection of the masked army before the blurring experiment, but at least now Hiriko Meiko is definitely one of the top 5 people in this group. Will deny. It's a ghost again, it's this trick again, nothing new, the 31 way, the red artillery. Lu Chenggong raised his hand without looking at it and shot a fireball that directly collided with Kuchiki Byakuya's red artillery. Together, it exploded with a bang. The rope that binds the way. Kuchiki Byakuya not only improved greatly in strength, but also had the same mentality. He was not moved by Lu Chenggong's words at all, and he used the way to bind himself. Boring. Lu Chenggong took out the Shuiyan mad knife, cut off the tie-like rope in front of him, and pointed at Kuchiki Byakuya with his left hand, the fourth ballet. The 33 Kang Fire Falls of the Broken Tao. Kuchiki Beizai did not show any weakness, and directly used the 33 Broken Tao. An explosive fireball directly smashed the white lightning, and hit Lu Chenggong unabated. Zongkong. Yi couldn't help but cried out in worry, and almost couldn't help rushing out, but was directly pulled by the petite Bachenliu. To Yi's surprise, she found that she looked like a little queen for several years. Bachenliu, who has never grown up, can actually hold him down so that he can't rush out, and his strength is not weaker than himself at all, which is amazing. Xiao Yi, you kissed Xiao Kong. Why don't you know him? Do you think such an attack can hurt him? Bachenliu looked like a little adult, but the kiss in front of her made Yi blushed and almost couldn't help but become angry, but in the end she kept telling herself that she couldn't care about a little girl, it was too much. Copies. Bachenliu said it well this time. Yi, you should also have some confidence in your boyfriend. Kuchiki Shanghai said. Hey, it doesn't seem to be useful other than getting a little dust. Byakuya, can you be more serious? Sure enough, when the smoke dissipated, Lu Chenggong stood there safe and sound, and patted his body as if nothing had happened. No dust. HMPH, stupid, look around you. Kuchiki Byakuya sneered. The sky was surrounded by countless cherry blossoms in all directions. With Kuchiki Byakuya's thoughts moving, the ruthless cherry blossoms seemed to destroy Lu Chenggong directly, let Lu Chenggong vanish in an instant. Is this still the trick? Lu Chenggong was extremely calm, and let these cherry blossoms fall on him. Although Byakuya was much stronger, Shikai's power was also greatly enhanced, but he was not the only one who became stronger. The scene that came down still disappointed Kuchiki Byakuya. The cherry blossoms covering Lu Chenggong turned into snowflakes, just like the battle back then. Kuchiki Byakuya quickly put away this disappointment and returned to being cold and confident at the beginning. Senbon Sakura in his hand pointed the blade down, and then let go of his hand. The strange thing is that Senbon Sakura did not stick to the ground, but seemed to penetrate the air. Disappeared before. Senbon Sakura appeared from the air, and then instantly turned into cherry blossoms. The number was very amazing, and the power and speed, attack range, defense, etc. have been increased several times. I have to say that this arrogant guy has some skills. He actually understands Bankai. I don't know how powerful it is, but he looks really good. If you use it to pick up girls, you will definitely get twice the result with half the effort. Everyone still agrees with what Hiroko Mako said before. But the latter words changed as soon as they came out, and sure enough, the dog couldn't stop eating urine. You can die in the hands of Bankai, who only the true captain can control. You deserve to die. Kuchiki Byakuya showed a cold smile on the corner of his mouth, and his tone couldn't help but feel a little smug. But yes, even if he could master Bankai so quickly, it was because he was born in Kuchiki's reason, but I have to say that he is indeed a genius. Is this your Bankai? It looks good, but I hope it won't be as futile as your previous strength. An embroidered pillow. Lu Chenggong didn't care at all. Instead, he looked at Byakuya's Bankai with a look at the scene. I have to say that this guy's Bankai is very good in appearance, and Hiroko Mako said it well. Package. I hope you can still say these words before you die. Kuchiki Byakuya controlled the cherry blossoms in the sky and turned them into terrifying weapons at an astonishingly fast speed, directly surrounding Lu Chenggong, as if he planned to kill him with one hit. Yes, then I can't hide my clumsiness, but at your level, it seems that I don't need to use Bankai. Let you see the true power of my Shikai. Lu Chenggong's words made Kuchiki Shanghai, Kazuki, Aizen and others show such expressions as expected. If even Kuchiki Byakuya has mastered Bankai, it would be abnormal if Lu Chengkong, the evildoer, didn't, but I'm listening. When Lu Chengkong said his true power of Shikai, they suddenly came to their spirits. Although they were a little depressed and couldn't see Lu Chengkong's Bankai, it was good to see Shikai. 396 Shikai breaks Bankai. Haha, stop laughing, it's just that a commoner like you can master Bankai. You can't do it, pretend, but it doesn't matter, you better go to hell. Trying to defeat my Bankai with Shikai is a fool's dream. Words. Byakuya Kuchiki laughed as if he had heard the funniest joke. Really, I hope you can still laugh later. Don't kneel down and beg for mercy and apologize like you did in the past, giving you a chilling glance. Lu Chengkong sneered, leaping in the air, condescending, and slashing out, a knife that spanned the distance between the two of them. The huge ice blade condensed from the air in an instant, with terrifying power and icy cold air. It pierced through the countless cherry blossoms in front of it, and then slashed at Kuchiki Byakuya without the slightest pause. Impossible, my Bankai Senbon Sakura, how could you break through the defense line? Kuchiki Byakuya couldn't accept that his Bankai was broken by the opponent's Shikai and the same move that year, but at this time, although he was hit hard, he did not lose rationally standing in place but dodging in a blink of an eye. Can you escape? Red apricots in the snow. Lu Chengkong mocked, the blood-drinking mad knife in his hand slashed sharply at his right hand. When Kuchiki Byakuya thought he had escaped, Lu Chengkong's red apricots in the snow inadvertently already in front of Kuchiki Byakuya. This time it was so fast that he couldn't dodge, and the ice blade, which was even sharper than before, had already slashed at him. Kuchi. The critical moment, Kuchiki Byakuya manipulated Senbon Sakura with his hands, which doubled the speed of Senbon Sakura, offsetting most of the damage, but even so, a deep visible bone was cut off the chest, and the wounds formed layers. Frost. If not treated in time, this frost can be fatal if it penetrates deep into the internal organs. Can you still fight? It's only 2 moves. You are too useless, let alone Bankai. Even I, Shikai, can't bear it, but I still have 4 moves waiting for you. Lu Chengkong looked very sad with a displeased expression, completely ignoring the way Aizen and the others were shocked. Damn, this big pervert is still the same as before. It's just Shikai, isn't it too perverted? He broke other people's Bankai in one fell swoop, and he only made 2 moves to seriously injure people, and let him human life. God, why did you give him such a perverted Zanpakudo? Hiriko Mako cried out. Although the others were not so exaggerated, they still had expressions of deep sympathy. What a powerful Shikai, his destructive power is amazing, only 2 moves are like that. The last 4 moves are definitely more powerful than 1 move. If I were to resist it? Urahara Kazuki secretly asked himself, and came to the conclusion the answer is no. It's really powerful, but if you are hypnotized by me, then no matter how powerful you are, it's useless, but Shanghai still needs to pay attention. It seems that he has recovered. Is he struggling from the temptation of power? If this is really the case, then I have to be careful. He is also an illusion-type Zanpakudo, and he can directly control Zanpakudo. His ability is no worse than mine. Quote. Aizen thought self-righteously, but although he thought it was simple, if you look carefully, you will still find that his eyes are flickering, and his right hand is a little trembling. Obviously, he is not sincere, although he is confident that his ability will not be cracked. But as the owner of Jinghua Shuiyu, he knows Jinghua Shuiyu's flaws or weaknesses, and he also knows that there is no absolutely invincible Zanpakudo, as long as he finds the right way to break it, and even if he hypnotizes Lu Chengkong himself, Lu Chengkong is in a flash during the battle. If a more terrifying ability bursts out, can you stop it? This is just Shikai, and behind Shikai there are 4 more powerful tricks. In fact, Aizen was also unsure and not sure. At the same time, he also made up his mind that he must use Jinghua Shuiyu on Lu Chengkong before the battle, hypnotize him in advance, and use it for a long time, so that he would fall into deep hypnosis. It may be too late to hypnotize her. I have to say that Aizen is indeed very smart. Not only does he have extraordinary aptitude and strength, but he also has a smart head. Before he is not sure that he can defeat the opponent 100%, he will never fight recklessly, but outsmart him. Hehe, let me tell you the truth. My Shikai's energy is called the 6 techniques of Aohen, and at a glance, the red apricots in the snow are only the first 2 techniques, and you are clamoring for me, so what about the nobles? It's just relying on the ancestors, it's just a piece of trash. If you don't have the Deadwood family, you can understand Bankai. Hehe, I think you should forget about such a weak strength. Don't be a god of death, it's just shameful. Bankai, hehe, are you qualified to see my Bankai? Lu Chengkong snorted coldly, landed from the air, and retracted the Shuiyin Quangdao back into the scabbard. However, he is already at the end of the battle, and the frost of the wound is eroding him all the time. Xiaokong, why didn't you kill him? Bachenliu's words made Kuchiki Byakuya's face change, and her heart suddenly tightened. She knew that Lu Chengkong didn't kill him entirely because he was a member of the Kuchiki family. Now Lu Chengkong's strength it wasn't strong enough, but if Kuchiki Byakuya became stronger, he believed that Lu Chengkong would never care about his identity again, and would definitely kill him directly. Killing his kind of trash is just sullying my snow-drink crazy blade, let's hang on for a while longer. Lu Chengkong sneered, as if he wanted to know Kuchiki Byakuya's thoughts at this time, but he admitted that he was indeed worried. He was not worried about the Kuchiki family, but the Kuchiki Yinling, who was obviously also the death god of the old antique. Don't look at him, it seems to be old, and old man Yamamoto is even older. His strength is absolutely terrifying. Lu Chengkong even guessed how the Kuchiki clan would have become the leader of the 4 major families if Kuchiki Yinling wasn't there. Although he killed Kuchiki Byakuya now, it was very refreshing. Continuously. He will definitely be hunted down by the Deadwood family and even the entire Soul world, and old man Yamamoto will definitely be in the ranks of those who are chasing him. Not a real captain-level Grim Reaper. And he didn't want to hurt that 8,000 streamers because of his lack of strength. After all, he doesn't have enough strength to shock the Soul world, and he has to take care of 1 or 2, but he believes that he will have it soon. And killing Byakuya too quickly is too boring. In Kenpachi's words, it is to fatten up and then kill. When you have nothing to do, it is also a kind of entertainment. 397 Byakuya. Now, when Lu Chengkong's Reiatsu was not at Bankai, he was only at the peak of the vice captain. Although his outburst of fighting power could even defeat Bankai's Kuchiki Byakuya after Bankai was only at the level of captain. Reiatsu, and it's a Reiatsu that has just reached the captain's level. It can be seen from this that the difference in spiritual pressure between the vice captain and the captain, Kuchiki Byakuya's spiritual pressure is not the peak of the vice captain's spiritual pressure, but it is also at the level of the vice captain. More importantly, what Lu Chengkong wants is not just the strength of Reiatsu, but Reiatsu, Kendo, Ghost Dao, Shirataki, Shunpo, etc., all combined to achieve the true captain level without Benkai Shikai. Just like the current Deadwood Silver Bell, Lu Chengkong is not afraid to reach this point. Kuchiki Byakuya's face was full of anger, and there was a hint of real hatred in his eyes, but after all, he is not a fool, he is indeed a genius, this is an undeniable fact. The reason why he behaves like this unbearable is not because he is too weak, but because Lu Chengkong is too strong. His overwhelming advantage is almost there. Chengkong had just completed Shikai, his spiritual pressure was only about 5 seats, but with a frightened glance, it burst out with the attack strength that can only be issued by a leader-level death god, and defeated Kenpachi. Only a chilling glance could be used, but he won after all. Not to mention that the strength has improved greatly now. Not only has Bankai been completed, but the strength of the spiritual pressure has also improved a lot in addition to the quality. Simply increasing the amount of spiritual pressure is useless. For example, to steadily improve the quality, every time only by compressing the spiritual pressure to the extreme can it continue to improve. This kind of spiritual pressure is the most powerful. Lu Chengkong is taking this route, and the same is true for the current Zengmu Janpachi. After all, the biggest advantage and strength of Zengmu Janpachi is that his spiritual pressure is huge and the speed of accumulation of spiritual pressure is beyond ordinary people. I'm born with talent. Every god of death has a side that he is good at, let alone a genius among the gods of death. He even makes full use of what he is good at to cover up his own shortcomings and at the same time try to make up for his own shortcomings. Comprehensive development. Little Byakuya, what are you doing? It was just an ordinary duel. Is it necessary to make it like this? Does the noble's self-esteem and face really matter so much? You must know that the Kuchiki family was only born in a plane countless years ago. That's it, can you forget your roots when you become a noble? After all, Sifanyuan Yaiki played with Kuchiki Byakuya since he was a child. Although Yaiki bullied Kuchiki Byakuya most of the time, in the previous battles and Kuchiki's family killing Lu Chengkong, she didn't say anything to Byakuya. But this time she felt compelled to say something. This is Yi Yi's advantage. She is the only person among the four nobles who is approachable, the most popular, and the most well-connected. Be a person at night, don't forget your roots. You actually compare the commoners with the people of our Kuchiki family. Yaiki, do you know what you're talking about? Kuchiki Byakuya felt that he and Sifanyuan Yaiki were so unfamiliar for the first time. The concept of the two was actually two to the extreme. Now Kuchiki Byakuya has fallen into the restricted area. Forget it, now I don't think you can hear what I say. Qian ago, the first generation of the Kuimu family lived from a commoner to become a god of death and followed the spirit king to conquer the soul world, and today's one of the four nobles is born. The head of the Kuchiki family, but have you forgotten where the ancestors of the Kuchiki family came from? I just keep remembering where my ancestors came from. All the gods of death here have the opportunity and ability to become new nobles. If you still continue to maintain such a mentality of being superior to others and looking down on the commoners, one day you will suffer a big loss. Even your Deadwood family, it seems that it is really rotten, not only you, but also the Sifanyuan family. What Yi Yi said this time can be described as earth-shattering. The cleavage made the nobles of the soul world will definitely yell at him, and Lu Chengkong on the side also understood why Yi Yi's original work had defected, except to save Urahara Kazuki had to defect. The most important reason is that he can't stand the mentality and behavior of the people in the Sifanyuan family. Their faces make Yi Yi very uncomfortable and depressed. It is better to be free. After all, Yi Yi's favorite life is freedom. Stable, calm, it is best to have some fun and exciting things from time to time. This is the pursuit of Yi Yi. And all of this was also felt from Lu Chengkong's side after Yi Yi met Lu Chengkong. He was very relaxed, without a trace of depression. It was precisely because of this relaxed and unconstrained feeling that Yi Yi and Lu Chengkong came together at the beginning. From a little curiosity at the beginning, they became friends at the end, and then they finally became boyfriend and girlfriend because of Yi Yi's silent dedication. Although Lu Chengkong doesn't have much affection for Yi Yi, and desires more than love, but Yi Yi doesn't care. She believes that her efforts will definitely pay off, and she will definitely impress this man with Bingxin. Especially after seeing Lu Chengkong look at him with a gentle look and a hint of emotion, she became firmer. She is such a person, she is strong and decisive, and she is so cool. Once she decides, she will never look back, especially in terms of emotions. Even more so. It's just unreasonable. If it was someone else's words, Kuchiki Byakuya would have been stabbed long ago, but Yi Yi is his nemesis. Even if Lu Chengkong and Yi Yi have come together, he can't transfer the hatred in his heart to him. Yi Yi's body may be too seriously injured, or it may be anger. Kuchiki Byakuya finally couldn't help fainting. Byakuya. Kuchiki Kangchun saw Kuchiki Byakuya's condition, and was immediately furious, and directly Bankai. With the surge in spiritual pressure, he actually surpassed Kenpachi by a lot, and he really deserves to be the contemporary head of the family. No matter what his personality is, the strength is unquestionable, but at this time, he just forced Kenpachi back, not attacking, but came to Kuchiki Byakuya's side in a blink of an eye, picked him up, and disappeared in place, apparently looking for someone to heal him. Che, it's really disappointing. I just left after entering the main show. Zaragi Kenpachi cut and said very unhappy. Okay, Kenpachi, he is the captain of the expedition team anyway, and he is also the contemporary patriarch of the Kuchiki family. unless our strength is stronger than the Kuchiki family, or you want to defect, otherwise you can fight him, or you can beat him half to death, but definitely not kill him. Lu Chengkong patted Zengmu Kenpachi on the shoulder and motioned him to relax a little. After all, this is the junction of the Soul Society and the Void Circle. Are you still worried about the lack of a fight? 398 Yi Yi's little mouth. I think everyone is clear. Kuchiki Kingchun should be dissatisfied with us, and he is likely to fall into injustice when fighting Daxu, and he has killing intent on me. I think there may only be one present. The three of them are the safest, Yi Yi, Shanghai, and Konghe. At that time, everyone should try not to scatter too far, lest they die not in Taishu's hands, but in their own hands. Lu Chengkong said. Then he glanced at Yi Yi. Yi Yi, there is a sentence I want to give you. That is, the way is different, and the other way is that you don't talk too much. I understand, maybe it's time to make a choice. Of course, I understood what Lu Chengkong meant. Obviously, he was talking about the concept of himself and Kuchiki Byakuya. Byakuya is a typical kind of person who doesn't care how strong you are. Not strong, good quality or not, to deal with him you must be a noble, at least he is like this now. On the other hand, Yi Yi is the opposite. If you don't show your identity, as long as your quality passes the test and you get her approval, then it will be no problem to make friends. I have to say that this kind of concept is definitely a wonderful flower for today's aristocrats. It must have been the outbreak of Lu Chengkong and Zengmu Kenpachi just now. The death gods of the expedition team did not dare to do anything, so they directly arranged accommodation for Lu Chengkong's people, brought meals, and withdrew with low eyebrows. Chengkong, I'm so scared. Yi Yi sat in Lu Chengkong's arms and buried his small head in Lu Chengkong's arms. Like a wounded kitten, Vivi's body trembled, making people feel like Chu Chu was pitiful and pitiful. What are you afraid of? Lu Chengkong rubbed Yi Yi's little head, and at the same time looked at Bachenliu, who was standing on the side with nothing to do with him, and looked like he was eating and eating. I worry that we will go further and further. The Kuchiki family is the #1 noble in the soul world. Now your hatred can be said to be endless, but you will eventually leave me because of this. Also, I worry that one day I will endure it. Can't live with the decadence and oppression of the nobles, and leave the soul realm. If that's the case, will you accompany me? Sifeng Yuan raised his head at night, his watery eyes full of desire. Don't think about it. If there is such a day, I will be with you. Don't think about the future. Cherish the present as the most important thing. I think you are tired too. Go to sleep. Lu Chengkong patted it a little funny. I took a look at Yi Yi's buttocks, and felt the amazing elasticity and sensuality in it, and my heart suddenly swayed. Yi Yi Chao blushed. Although she was outspoken, she couldn't help but feel shy when her most secret part was slapped like this, and she couldn't help but scream. It's not safe here. There are ears on the wall, otherwise I will definitely eat you. Lu Chengkong had to use Bingxin to suppress his lust. After all, there are many dangers here, and there are ears on the wall. It is not good to be heard, otherwise, just now aroused by Yi Yi's cat-like voice, she ate her clean long ago. Who is afraid of who will eat who will not know. Yi Yi raised his head proudly, as if he had adapted to this kind of battle, and retorted without showing weakness. I hope you will be able to say these words when the time comes, but well, although I can't eat you, I have come up with a better way. Lu Chengkong smiled evilly, which made Yi Yi feel a little nervous. In the middle of the night, I realized what was going on. I saw Lu Chengkong put Yi Yi in front of him, made him sit down on his knees, then took off his trousers, and the smell of the dragon that he had prepared for battle made Yi Dan's face flush red. At the same time, a pair of clear eyes flashed a hint of anger and fiery. It's a pity that Lu Chengkong didn't give him the time to be ashamed. He held her little head against her cherry mouth, and the giant dragon gave him a slap, causing Yi Yi to open his mouth in a conditioned reflex. The size fell directly into Yi Yi's small mouth, and suddenly reached the deepest part of his throat. The moist, slippery feeling spread all over his body along the dragon, and Lu Chengkong couldn't help but let out a comfortable cry. I can definitely do it. Yi quickly recovered after the initial shyness, and cheered himself up. After all, this is what he will do sooner or later as a woman, and Yi is obviously not an ordinary woman, right? She is very open to the person she loves, but she is so self-taught. The next day, Lu Chengkong got up early, looked at Yi, who was still lying in bed and refused to come out, and smiled softly. Obviously, all the savings he had accumulated for several years yesterday burst out in Yi's mouth, letting him. Yi drank a lot of children and grandchildren, and although the two of them didn't break through the final limit yesterday, they still hugged each other and slept together. They had already touched Yi's body all over, and all the secrets were mastered by him. Although Yi is more open, but now he is not as mature and complacent as in the original book. Facing his lover, he was only one step away from being caught by him yesterday, and now he has to change clothes in front of him. Of course I'm a little embarrassed. Women are such strange creatures. Yesterday, they even did oral exercises, and now they are afraid of them. But according to Yoichi's temperament, he won't be afraid of these things soon, but I'm not that idiot like Urahara Kazuki in the original book, so I won't let Yoichi's character change to be dissatisfied like the original book, and I will take off my clothes and give it to him. Household seems to stimulate him. Lu Chengkong laughed secretly. Yi knew his character very well and would never do such absurd things, and he also knew Yi's character very well, and would never do such a thing. Matsumoto Ranju likes to cherish his own body the most, and it is definitely that guy Urahara Kazuki who makes the original book 100% dissatisfied, or is always researching. Or maybe he didn't understand what Yi meant to him, so Yi would do such a thing to stimulate him. Now that he exists, Yi would never have the idea to take off his clothes. After all, Yi but she knows her domineering. Everything she owns can only belong to herself. And Yi is also very sweet and happy with Lu Chengkong's domineering. What she wants is such a man, who understands her heart, cherishes herself, does not only know how to accommodate in certain aspects, and has the domineering of her own man. Knowing that her whole heart was tied to Lu Chengkong, how could she have such an idea? Dashu is here, concentrate. Suddenly a god of death shouted, and many gods of death who were still resting rushed out at once, while Yi dressed at an astonishing speed and came to Lu Chengkong's side, embracing his one arm, gave him the best of himself, and looked at Lu Chengkong with tender eyes. 399 The First Battle. Yesterday, the relationship between the two broke through a new layer. After the night, the relationship between Lu Chengkong and Lu Chengkong was completely violent. He didn't care about the surprise of the people around him, the eyes of shock and disbelief, and his love was unreserved, like a fire. She showed it without a trace of reservation. She was such a person. Yi. Once the relationship is established between the two parties, her love will no longer be like a long stream of water, slowly nourishing the other party and letting the other party understand her heart, but like a raging fire in Limocho in the Legend of Condor Heroes. Very similar. Not everyone can afford her special love that combines ferocity and tenderness. Maybe only Lu Chengkong can bear it. At least Kazuki Urahara in the original book can't bear it. He doesn't have this qualification. He doesn't even know Yiki's intentions. Just like she did to Lu Chengkong before, she hid behind the scenes, giving silently without expecting anything in return. Today's Daxu is very special. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to attack it desperately. Everyone, prepare for the challenge, and pull out the Zanpakudo in your hands for the sake of Xiolingte. Deadwood King Chun reappeared in the eyes of Lu Chengkong and others, but when he looked at Lu Chengkong today, it was as plain as water, as if he didn't have a trace of hatred. Yes, but Lu Chengkong doesn't think so. Are you planning to assassinate me? You are too underestimated by me. So I will let you steal chickens without losing money, but today's Daxu seems to be really a problem, isn't it? Lu Chengkong turned around and glanced at Lan Ran secretly. There was nothing abnormal on the surface, but Lu Chengkong still saw a haze of the current Dao Xing of Lan Ran. Obviously, these big virtuals would be so abnormal because he used Jinghua Shuiyu ability. It seems that he has begun to collude with the virtual circle. I don't know the original Kuchiki Kengshin's death in battle because this guy wanted to give Aizen and others a blow at the beginning, but Aizen went crazy and hypnotized, and finally let Kuchiki Kengchun die in battle. Lu Chengkong felt more and more that his conjecture was correct. He called the idiots of the Kuimu family offended and called the others less. They were the boss of the sky, the second child of the earth, the third old man of Yamamoto, and their fourth style. No wonder they died in the end. Kuchiki Gyakuya and Kuchiki Ginsu. Xiao Kongkong, when I went out to pee yesterday, I accidentally discovered that Kuchiki Kengchun had sneaked into Shanghai's tent. Although I don't want to think so, Shanghai is already a member of the Kuchiki family after all. Be careful, if he controls your Zanpakuto and then Kuchiki Kengjun goes all out to kill you, it will be very dangerous. Ping Zishenzi's voice suddenly sounded in Lu Chengkong's ears, and when he looked at him again, he found that his face was expressionless. If it wasn't for Lu Chengkong's understanding of her voice and his unique title, he would have thought it was an illusion. If Aizen conducts a virtual experiment on you in the future, I won't let you guys have any problems. Lu Chengkong smiled, but he understood Aizen's sinister intentions, and Hirako Mako, who has been pressing him all the time, has great potential. Zanpakuto's ability is also extraordinary. If he doesn't limit his growth rate, even if he can't compare to Aizen in the end, it won't be much worse. However, in the original book, Aizen used some rubbish emptiness to experiment with them. This rubbish emptiness limited his growth. Although he finally got the power of emptiness, it was all rubbish emptiness. The potential of virtualization can't be compared with Aizen or a household. At the same time, because the virtuality added by these external forces limits the development of Hirako Mako's death power, Hirako Mako, who was originally ahead of Aizen's strength, was abandoned so much in the end. Is it the Kuchiki family? It's not obvious, is it dark? It's a pity that you underestimate Kuchiki Shanghai. If he can't see through the desire for power, his achievements in this life may not be too great, but his Zanpakuto ability is it's more direct and terrifying than Aizen's, controlling Zanpakuto. The current Kuchiki Shanghai is not as simple as you think, and everything in your Kuchiki family may become a stepping stone for the transformation of the Kuchiki Shanghai. Quote. It was the first time Lu Chengkong saw Daxu, but they were all Killian, but don't underestimate Killian. If there were only one or two, or dozens of them, it would be like a god of death above Wuxi. Garbage, but there are at least tens of thousands of Kyrian in front of him, and if he releases a virtual flash on a person at the same time, even a captain-level death god will use a unique trick to block it, and he dare not use spiritual pressure directly to resist. Attack! Kuchiki Kengchun shouted, and then took the lead out of the Zanpakuto and rushed over. This was his confidence in his own strength. He would not believe that his own strength would die in the hands of Kyrian, but it was a pity that he too arrogant. Roar! A very harsh and unpleasant scream sounded from the Killian group. These Killian eyes suddenly had a red light, and thousands of red virtual flashes were like lasers, shooting at the people of the expedition team. Wow! It's so spectacular, Xiaokong, are these Killian? But they're ugly. Ba Qinliu sat on Lu Chengkong's shoulder and pointed at Killian in front of him with his little jade pointed. Hey, I really lost to Ya Qinliu, and I still have the time to talk about it at this time. Matsumoto Ranju held down her head with a bit of distress. To be honest, it was the first time she had experienced such a battle, facing such a large virtual group. The pressure in my heart is really not that big. Regardless of whether it is Ranju or Ichimaru Jin, even Aizen has a feeling that after this expedition, everyone will have a qualitative change in their temperament and strength. This little girl is not simple. Ichimaru Jin is very good at observing people and is very careful, otherwise it would be impossible to discover Kyoka Suzuki's weakness under the cover of Aizen. He found that Yachianryu was not afraid at all. Even his face and breathing didn't change at all, and he didn't see how Ba Qinliu moved at all. Let's do it, no matter what, we are still the gods of death now. Lu Chengkong took the lead, but instead of pulling out his Zanpakuto, he stretched out his right hand to face Daxu in front of him. Obviously, he planned to take a look at his current situation. How far has the Ghost Road reached? The 63 of the Destruction, Thunder Roar Cannon. The huge thunderbolt with a terrifying blasting force cut through the air barrier at an alarming speed and directly hit the front of Daxu. It exploded with a rumble, and the aftermath of the explosion sent out a large number of nearby Daxu. Faked kill. 400 chopping dead Wood King Chun. How much power does he hide? Lan Ran's eyes flickered, and a hint of surprise flashed across his face. Although he can do it without singing, his power is definitely not comparable to Lu Qingkong's Thunder Roar Cannon. Obviously, there is still a big gap between them. And now Lu Qingkong still has a lot of abilities that he has yet to use, who knows how strong he is. Gather up your courage, you are all the elites of the God of Death, heroes of the corpse soul world, don't back down, go ahead. Kuchiki Kangchun kept boosting his morale, but to see if his eyes were on Lu Qingkong's side, obviously, he was worried that Lu Qingkong would not rush over, and if the scene was not chaotic enough, he would not be able to achieve his goal. Let's keep up. Lu Qingkong's tone was a bit mocking, and this kind of tricks also came to show off. He may not be as good as these nobles who are immersed in intrigue every day in political struggles, but he is never afraid of conspiracy and calculation, he has always believed in it. The best way to crack the conspiracy is the strength in the hand. Until now, he hadn't seen how strong Lu Qingkong was, and what would he be afraid of with so many trump cards, unless it was old man Yamamoto himself, or Shiruro Yukitaki, Jingle Chunchui, the captain of the level, 3 or 4 pairs of death gods. Round up yourself, otherwise don't try to kill yourself now. It is useless to only use conspiracy, only young conspiracy is the right way. Lu Qingkong was not worried at all, and followed directly. There's a good show to watch. Hiriko Mako said excitedly to the masked army and others around him, and then followed up first. Let's go. Lisa Yatomaru could only helplessly shrug her shoulders. She was helpless about Hiriko Mako's personality and liking. Others had similar expressions, but they followed. Qingkong taking the lead, other people also developed a victorious spirit, some using ghosts, some shikai, they can be said to have their own magical powers, but the number of Daxu is too many, while dealing with the emptiness shooting from all directions. Shen, while also beheading the nearby Daxu, it will be really tiring if it takes a long time. It seems that the plan has changed. You don't need to kill Kuchiki Kingchun with Dashu. Someone can do me. It's true that there is a way to heaven. You can't enter, and there is no door to hell. You can break in, or you are a real captain. Death, the contemporary head of the Deadwood family, should be able to force Lu Qingkong's strength out. Lan Ran noticed that Kuimu Kingchun was actually approaching Lu Qingkong slowly, and between the electric light and flint, Lan Ran understood that Kuimu Kingchun was planning to kill Lu Qingkong in the chaos. When Lu Qingkong died, there was no proof of death, even if someone watched. It's useless to arrive, and now he has entered the Daxu group again. When the time comes, the person who was killed by Daxu will be killed, and there will be no proof for death. Thinking of this, Aizen also slowly moved to the side, trying to hide his figure as much as possible. Obviously, he planned to hide and see how the battle would develop. At the same time, he did not intend to join in. After all, he is not strong enough now. The accumulation of strength is not achieved in one fell swoop. Aizen is so powerful in the original work that it has been accumulated for hundreds of years. Now is not the time to expose himself. Of course, it has nothing to do with himself, and there are so many falsehoods. When the time comes, he can be said to be surrounded by Daxu, but what is more important is that it is easy for him to hide his figure with the help of a mirror. Maybe his current strength is not as good as that of a veteran captain like Jingle Chunchui. To hide, if he is restrained, he is confident that he will never be discovered. Condensate, diamond stars. The Zanpakuto in Kuchiki Kangjun's hand suddenly turned into a Zanpakuto that seemed to be completely polished with diamonds. I have to say that everyone in the Kuchiki clan's Zanpakuto is a direct attack. Or the track system has one thing in common, that is, it is gorgeous enough and sassy enough. Go to hell. Kuchiki Kangchun took a momentary step and appeared directly in Lu Qingkong's outstretched hand. The diamond star in his hand pierced directly into Lu Chengkong's heart. The speed is really fast enough, but I've been paying attention to you. Lu Chengkong instinctively sensed the approaching danger, and without even thinking about it, he pulled out the Shuiyan crazy saber and slashed behind him. Clang! The fiery fire burst out at the collision position of the two weapons, and the powerful force caused a circle of ripples in the air, and the sand beneath the feet sank. Sneak attack is not suitable for a noble's identity. Yes, I almost forgot that all of you nobles are hypocritical, but since you have made a move, don't think about living. You are not the only one who has this idea of dying without proof. Quote. Lu Chengkong sneered, and the icy cold air suddenly radiated. This was not the cold air with low temperature, but the cold air emitted by the combination of the ice core and the ice blade. In addition to eroding the cold air to the body, it was also harmful to the mind and soul. The power that burst out from such a close distance is extremely amazing, and Hong Xing in the snow was originally going to catch the opponent by surprise, whether it was a sneak attack or a frontal battle. The sudden knife, and the knife with such amazing power, made King Chun Kuchiki, who was in front of Lu Chengkong, unable to dodge and was blasted away by an ice knife with a length of more than 10 meters. It seemed to form an ice sculpture, and then instantly turned into ice chips. I'm a little embarrassed for stealing Kenpachi's opponent, but I'm sorry, you have to die, and give a chilling glance. Lu Chengkong chased after him in a flash, completely ignoring the surrounding Kilian. Obviously such a good opportunity he is, I won't let it go. I'm determined to teach the Kuchiki family a profound lesson. One knife after another, Lu Chengkong slashed out continuously, and the huge ice-blue ice knives formed in the air kept slashing at King Chun's body, like a violent storm without a single stop. For a while, Kuchiki King Chun could only hold up the diamond stars in his hand to resist. This kid Raya is only the pinnacle of the vice captain, but the power of every move is to be handled with care even if it is a captain-level death god. No wonder Byakuya is defeated by Shikai's offensive even if he is Bankai, but I am not Byakuya. That way I just realized Bankai, but I realized Bankai's death. While Kuchiki King Chun was secretly surprised, he was also extremely annoyed. As a captain-level death god, he was not only beaten and beaten, but also had to be passively defended, which was too embarrassing. Now is not the time to be in a daze, let's take it, the fourth tactic of Aohen's 6 techniques, Dao Ji Yao Yao. Lu Chengkong took a step back, and it seemed to outsiders that he was a little lacking in stamina, so he was overwhelmed. Kuchiki King Chun, who was fighting, immediately thought that the opponent was exhausted. After all, after such a powerful attack released so many times, the opponent's spiritual pressure should be exhausted.